Hey Jake, I don't know if you have heard this one before, but what do computers and air conditioners have in common? They're both useless when you open Windows.
Nice.
Oh come on! There was
I read it before.
Oh, okay. Neil and I had a conversation about it, so God damn it! I was like, that's good. I like it. Makes me happy. I'm gonna use that one at work later. Like I'm literally gonna steal it. I'm gonna, hey, and they're gonna be like. To be fair though, when you walk into a room, like, what do you expect, really?
Please clip that. What I want is just that bit clipped. Just.
You can't usually make clips that small, so.
I know,
bam.
so we're gonna need Josh to like strip it down into GIF.
Oh, Josh is like a season behind, and so he won't know. He's not here. Sorry.
Josh isn't here to help you now, boy.
All right, so let's go back to the other things that are happening. A wealthy person moving in town, looking to build for themselves, kind of like actually what happened beforehand with Leon. You know what I mean? So what is going to happen is, because obviously you have you guys were looking to claim and build up the keep. You've already dumped 12 of the 16 required BP into converting your keep over to the west. Excuse me, to prepare lands on, but it has not finished constructing itself yet. So what you're actually going to have, and overseeing that, of course, is that transition river is primarily. Obviously, you have a bunch of people over there, but for the sake of safety and whatnot, you've had Mog and blah 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 happen to be there. But the characters that have really spent time over in the Western Keep, I mean, Ilan went there that one time, just to kind of, visit and be like, hi, what's going on? Let me save this girl. And other than that, he hasn't been there. I imagine it's mostly kind of Rayron watching over that keep, because that keep kind of like holds an important place for him. One of the first things I do want to point out is that at one point in time, obviously, because Rayron would spend a lot of time out west, kind of watching over the construction, just so we can kind of have an eye on it. This is going to be an area where a lot of commerce comes from. So being the Treasury Secretary, whatever the hell you want to call him, the Treasurer, he is actually going to, it's important for him to make sure that things are going to be functioning well over there. Maybe even potentially thinking about how roads leading to other places, maybe outside of Idir, would be important, blah, 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 blah. Or just fortifying the whole area so nobody can get to his cute little town of safety. Either way, so occasionally the Ilan and One and everybody else would have to kind of step through the portal to have like conference with him while he's kind of overseeing it, spending much of his time there, which is in the kingdom, so it's safe. You actually are getting your job done. During one such visit, and this is why I feel bad that Tesh isn't here, Tesh would actually be able to officially meet the big bird there. I can't remember what its name is. It's like Alexa. Yeah.
Alexa, jeez.
Hey,
Scott.
Hey Alexa, turn the lights on. Look, my parents have that thing where my mom's always like, she thinks it's so cool. She's like, hey Alexa, turn the lights on. Hey Alexa, turn the lights on. Alexa, turn the lights on. Look, it did it. I'm like, what about just a proper walk over, click the switch on and walk back and,
I mean, like, if you really want that, like, just get a clap one.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in the 90s, all the old people got clap on, clap off, clap. You know what I mean? Like, that's what my mind. So whenever I hear people like, Alexa, I'm like, oh, it's just the clap on from the 90s, for the aughts or whatever. Moving on. So, it just makes me boomers. That's right. And I don't care how old you are. If you have to talk to an electronic device to turn your switch on, you're old. I'm sorry. But, so you, while it's spending time over there, they would come and visit you. At one point in time, Ilan would come to visit and actually properly meet Alexa. for the first time. And he would say, Alexa, land. And it would come over and land. And so he would actually go and introduce himself to the bird. And if you guys remember, this bird has kind of like a union with the martyr. It's
Like,
literally...
puts her head. She's like, didn't I kill you? Just grabs him and flies off.
Another one bites the dust.
It's funny, you actually peaked when you did that, and your microphone got quieter for you. I don't know if you have a sound gate or something put up, but you're like, ah, and then it would drop down to like, ah, you know.
I don't really make as many obnoxious noises as you on stream.
Moving on.
That was quite a noise. Like, how did you physically make that noise? It sounded like you crunched the cartilage in your throat and nose.
You'll never know. You think there's a nose in here? No.
Just a D20 covered in flesh. Just in case he ever needs it. Just,
There's a story I could tell you, but we'll avoid that for now. So,
oh my lord.
So anyways, the while over there and actually properly meeting Alexa, he would actually reach over and give the bird a pet, like, you know, kind of like, oh, this is a magnificent beast. It's you know, I love meeting such a thing. When something strange would happen, I don't know if you recall, but giant owls, Jake, don't worry. Giant eagles are large sized, which means they're like horses, but, you know, flying with wings. So they have wingspans that are absolutely ridiculous and so on and so forth. They're just absolutely massive creatures. The bird actually starts to change as he touches it. It literally starts to change in color. Instead of being these like browns and whatnot covering over it with bits of white patches on it, much like, you know, eagles have, it actually starts to rapidly change in color, giving it almost like a rainbow pattern of color. As the bird starts to have this like strange changing of this rainbow pattern, it starts to flap its wings, and in doing so, it literally has almost like a flaming look to it. You know how if you grab like a sparkler or like a light and darkness, and you have I can't remember what it's called, but it's like light drawing. You can do like long exposure with cameras and whatnot, and like almost like draw things. Almost like my camera right now seems to be behind, so you see this almost like dragging effect of a hand at the moment. Funny enough, but I don't know why the rate is so low at the moment, but like this, it's almost as its wings are doing that with like the reddish color to the under the part of the rays, the reds and the oranges and the yellows. It almost gives this like fanning flame kind of look to it. This kind of like spectrum of color is shifting. It's giving these blues and these oranges and all these colors that you would see kind of like a flame be, which is very, very strange. As it's happening, as it's fanning, you actually see for a moment there, it almost seems to be like igniting in flame itself. There's a moment you guys are thinking, holy shit, is this one of those legendary phoenixes? But instead of growing in size, it's actually shrinking in size. Like as the fire is consuming it, it's actually growing smaller and smaller and smaller until instead of being this large sized bird like it always was beforehand, Alexa,
It is Athena. This is cruel to Tesh. So stop it, because he's going to listen back to this and he's going to be like, every time you say it.
So Alexa gets smaller size, much like the size of a smaller dog, like a 20-pound dog, like a corgi. You know what I mean? Of course, with a decent sized wingspan coming off of that, almost like the size of a proper eagle. You know what I mean? But its colors stay this like insane, beautiful, like just like these scintillating colors that represent all the different colors of fire. You know what I mean? Again, like I said, pale yellows down to like deeper yellows, oranges, reds, and blues. Even a little bit of like green thrown inside there as it's moving around. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's breathtaking that you see here. Honestly, the only person here that might even know what this is Jake. Give me 1 second to tell you what Jake can roll. 1 second. This is going to be An knowledge arcana check, Jake.
It's not me.
That's, I mean, do you have at
Wait,
least
Jake?
one rank in it?
Jake
I do
is
not.
rolling?
Jake is a class feature. So, here's a class feature for knowing creatures by looking at them.
Well, I'm gonna.
Okay,
I have
Do
a
I roll
feat.
it or not?
Yep.
I have a class feature too. I'm a stab it. Woo.
Do you,
And it's +4 to identifying creatures.
oh, don't forget to like. I suppose you don't need to put that in there. You know, for other things. So that's a 23. Do you want to modify that at all?
I rolled that on my old sheet. That's actually a 20 because my intelligence went up, plus the +4 to.
It sounds like you need a re-roll because you pressed the wrong button there, Jake.
I pressed the right button. It's just I have a different sheet. And I'm not reading it. No.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'll take 24.
All right. So 24. Do you want to modify that with a luck die?
Do you want me to now?
So crazy. I don't mind.
I guess.
I need to re-roll 3. Beautiful. So with your 27 total, you actually know that this creature, you've actually heard of such things. It's actually called a firebird. They have these like long flowing feathers, kind of like a peacock does, that kind of like flow off its backside and so on and so forth. These massive creatures, oh, sorry, massive, they're small size, right? But it's massive feathers coming off them. It's bothering me so much that my camera is dragging so badly.
Just ignore it, Scott.
I just wanted to restart and stop doing that.
We're not seeing it as much as you.
It's called a firebird, and the firebirds are extremely, they're very intelligent. They're goodly creatures that generally don't stay in areas for particularly long periods of time. Usually what they tend to do is they find like a cause or reason to be somewhere. Sometimes they find those are kind of like in desperation or in need. And what they do is they help out either this person or this place or this group for a period of time before they end up going off to help out others. It's almost like they make it their purpose in life to aid creatures for its lifespan of over a century. So seeing this creature, seeing Athena kind of like become this when Ilan touches it, it's like, whoa, what did we just witness?
I guess you would turn around and say, she's become was it a firebird?
Correct.
I thought she was an owl, but now I don't know what she is. Seems like she can change shape at will.
You. Well, I suppose it's possible. We have seen something of the sort with Nathan's elementals. They react to the touch of creatures, and Ilan boasts a connection to both light, the matter, and fire.
Oh, now I'm wondering what happens if you touch it.
Ilan of course gives an appropriate reaction of like, what did I do? Oh no, oh my god, it's beautiful. And he's like petting the thing and whatnot. So funny enough, while you guys are having this little side conversation, Ilan's over there having a quick chat with it because it's actually speaking in common.
The bird is.
It's speaking Perrin.
What's it saying?
Sup, bro? I mean, he's over there having a conversation with Ilan. Do you want to join in? Do you introduce yourself?
I'd like to listen to what.
I am not going to say a roleplay for Tesh.
Well, I suppose if we heard it talking in Perrin, that'd get both their attention. So we'd probably approach.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd listen in to the conversation that they're having.
So the bird dies. Whoop! There goes that kingdom roll. Sorry, guys.
Wait, this is the wealthy merchant, wealthy immigrant.
No, that's an event roll. Different things. You're good though. Keep going. So you guys approach it to talk?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm bleeding a stone right now. Jeez.
Well, you know, like when you're fishing, you put tasty bait on the end.
Yeah.
You don't just leave it as a hook.
Yeah. Yeah, tasty bait. A goodly creature found someone who's desperate and said, yo, I'll help you.
I care about goodly creatures.
Now, if you tell me it's lawful evil, then you chum in the water.
I'm just waiting for it to kind of like shy away from you when you go to touch it with
Yeah,
your
I
thing.
don't like goodly creatures and me just don't get on. They're just dicks to me. They're just like passive aggressive hypocrites.
I don't know about hypocrites. But one of the things that you guys notice as you're approaching the bird, because obviously you're heading over towards it, one of the things that you notice as you're approaching the bird is that it has kind of like a warmth to it. Where, I mean, we know that it's, of course, the tail end of summer here. Fall's starting to settle in, but you are in the mountains, you are high up in altitude, so on and so forth. So it's colder up here. Whatever the cold breeze or might be coming by, it doesn't seem to affect you. It has like this like warmth to it that kind of like spreads around it that just makes you feel nice and comfortable as you're approaching. The creature would turn to each of you, and it doesn't like bow its head or anything like that, but gives you you can see a keenness into its eyes, and it gives you like a knowing look. It recognizes who the two of you are. To be fair though, the bird always seemed to give a keenness that allowed it to recognize who the two of you were. So, but now it just seems to be a bit more fire behind those eyes than there ever was before. Do either of you open with saying anything?
I would just directly ask it, have you always been what you are now?
I have always been what she's needed me to be.
Okay, that answers every question I have.
Is this your
Am I out of
true-
Senate here? Okay.
Is this your true form?
This isn't what I was originally born as. I was born a small, local bird that spent much time with her when she was young, when she was mortal. She placed me here to watch over while she was gone. And now she is...
Must have been incredibly lonely for a long time.
It was. The first to enter the keep after centuries were the two of you, and then she looks out towards the fields down below.
He is still here. And he would look to Ellen.
I feel his presence. And she says, looking at Ilan, and much like how a cat would kind of like lean in for a pet, or like kind of like move the head in over towards Ilan to give like a, like a little pet down the feathers. Some birds like being pet. Some of them rather just bite your finger off. I hate birds. I hate birds more than I hate cats. And I hate cats.
What don't you hate?
Dogs. Dogs are proper pets.
Yeah, it's because you're a dog.
I don't hate fish. They're just useless pets.
Are you a divine familiar, so to speak?
I'm joined with her, and I don't seem to have been able to die from age, so I have always been joined with her. But to the extent of what you're asking, I do not know. What I do know is this. This region, since the rise of her brother, has been plagued. Horribly so. Once again, looks out down below, to the fields down below. And you're starting to expand on the nation that she has given to you as an opportunity to spread goodwill and as a reward for releasing her from the torment that she was suffering. Even if only for a short period of time, I would love the opportunity to watch over this region as you start to build it up. With the, granted small, but still a present Gnoll population, with the abominations that travel through the area, and with the few undead that remain. Workers here, I've seen them getting picked off and being killed simply for trying to prepare this area for proper buildings to be created. I will watch over it. I will aid them where I can. I'll offer them whatever guidance that I can. And protections. You know, Jake, that one of the things that this creature has the ability to do is by flapping its wings in the direction of a creature, it actually sends out a beam of light, just like a huge burst, almost like a Hadouken, like a wave of light at a target. That not only does it could it burn them alive, if they were to survive it, the flash of light is so bright, kind of like a solar flare, that it would blind them. You know what I mean? It's targeted. It's not like an area.
I mean, this guy's Krillin.
Hadouken.
No. Solar flare.
Oh, solar flare. I was gonna do.
It's actually
Destructor disc.
I think it's Tien's move.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Krillin uses it.
Was it correct? Destructor disc, which he actually used.
That is Krillin's move.
He used it once. He was like, "Yeah, bro, you did something once. Good job. You got one. I think not Vegeta's tail, I think, or something." I was like, "You did one thing."
Yeah, yeah, but he's the most powerful human. So he created
Yamcha
this one
and the other one.
Yeah, I mean, he's not got much competition, but he created this one move, right? And it would have sliced Nappa in half when everyone else did nothing.
Yep.
What a hero! What a bold hero.
If I remember correctly, Chi-Chi had an insanely high power level for the Dragon Ball series, but in Dragon Ball Z, I think you're right. So,
no, I'm not gonna crack that joke.
Moving on. And Bulma's kind of a useless character, but that's fine.
Excuse me? The Dragon Raider?
No. She made some cool tech, but then I don't know, the whole her Vegeta.
The hyperbolic time chamber?
Again,
that
she
wasn't
made
her, but gravity training.
Yeah. She made some cool tech, but the whole her Vegeta thing, I'm like, she's way better than that. This is kind of just bad writing, but whatever.
She's way better than that. She likes a bad boy.
All right.
He's a prince.
He's a prince with no kingdom.
He's a rich girl. He's a prince. He doesn't need a kingdom.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm a prince too. I'm the Prince of Scotland. Look at that. See, Prince of Scotland. It's the land of Scott.
They don't have monarchs.
No, it's Scott with two T's. Scotland. Yeah, I'm the prince. I don't know who the king is.
You seem to have hit a nerve with Neil there.
But yeah, I know. He's afraid somebody else is going to leave the
Realize
union.
that kings and queens are appointed by God. No, carry on.
Well, Jeebus gave me the old boop boop and said, it's your turn. All right, moving on. So, you know that, as I said, so she said these things, of course, to lend aid. You also know, Jake, she has the ability, granted not all the time, but fairly often, to heal people simply with a touch. By a caress of the beak or the feathers. She can actually heal people or return them and so on and so forth. So, restore them, I should
just
say.
look to Ilan and he'd say, the Mata grants you a great gift in being able to work with this creature.
Wait, you said that to Ilan?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, Tash. Ilan's response is, yeah, woohoo!
That says
Well,
K.
it's not like you could say it to Rayron.
He looks up from his phone and says K and then goes back to texting. K.
Oh, I was hanging out with the Zoomer, yay. So yeah, no, Ilan's just like, I don't even know what happens.
Well, we are all blessed.
I guess thanks, he says, looking to the Firebird. I was told your name is Athena. Is that actually your name, since now you can speak properly? And she'll respond saying, I've not had a name in centuries. Athena has been a welcomed name. I like Athena.
Well, that was your chance to change the name there, Scott.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Unless I say, Alexa? Oh, hey Siri. Shut the fuck up, Siri. What's over there? So, Athena replies. So anyways,
You're a mess.
you guys are clearly not very interested in Athena, so we're just gonna pull the narrative away from that, because your character's
I mean,
like,
what
there's
else
a
do we
bird.
have to say? Great. Thanks
It's
for
a big
protecting.
Ilan thing. You
Thanks
know what I
for
mean?
protecting
That's
our kingdom.
Oh, I'm sorry. A powerful bird is just like, hey guys, I'm gonna help out with this whole problem over here. And you're like,
Okay, thanks.
cool. I'm sorry.
What
Are you
else do
a
we
god?
have to say?
You're not a
and
god?
to Ilan. This is something Ilan.
What else
shine
do
in, I
what
think.
else do we have to say other than okay, thanks, bye?
Back in a sec.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you know, if your grandma or your granny or whatever you call it, Neil, comes to your house and gives like a brand new car to your girl, and you're like, well, that's between the two of you, so I'm gonna just go over here and not pay attention to this conversation. This doesn't really matter.
Actually, they went over there and had their own private conversation.
God, my camera is so twitchy right now. It's so like, it's bothering the shit out of me. But moving on. So, yeah, you guys just kind of like leave Ilan to have a chat with it, and we will leave it there because, oh boy, it's like, again, like bleeding a stone right now.
I'm sorry, I'm not interested in the flaming bird. They're just a mini Nankaro. They're gonna protect a section of land. Great, thanks.
Well, it's kind of like the angel, actually.
Oh, great. I care about that angel too. Dickhead.
Awesome. And then the last thing I was gonna say was let's switch this to advanced to map layer. I think there's one more right here. Map layer. All right, so there's one more thing I didn't mention last week. I forgot to mention is if you actually look at the map right here, Neil, you're looking at it. One of the things you guys discovered when you sent those people out there is that there's actually a sawmill like set up and just kind of like this stuff left behind, and a farm sitting in those hexes right there. They're probably actually set up because of where it's located. They most likely belonged to Myson when he was there beforehand, but there's just like an unclaimed farm that's going to kind of grow wild if it's not tended to sometime in the near future, and a sawmill already set up.
Sawmill.
Yeah.
It's just like a horrific torture chamber for Myson. It's just like full of saw blades and chopped up mushrooms. And, oh God.
Oh
That's why he
God.
lives alone.
Oh, I thought you meant you're gonna use that on poor Myson. I was like, you're a
No,
terrible person.
God.
Oh
That
man.
bastard Myson doesn't deserve to die.
Moving on. So, because of the arrival of this bird, right, which is going to be guarding the area that you now see shown on the map that's here, eventually it kind of draws the attention of others that are nearby, because there is just a bird that's been flying around. And because I won't lie, I was literally, Neil, I was going to start hitting you guys with this kingdom, with these events that are happening. You know, there's a bunch of event rolls. There's a bad one that I didn't show you what bad thing happened yet. I don't know if you remember all the rolls, if you scrolled up, that I copy and pasted from Ano before.
Yeah.
There's a bad one that was going to have happened. That bad one was literally going to be these creatures kind of just attacking your people and causing all sorts of problems for you. Well, because my monthly event roll that I rolled with this actually protecting the area, it kind of like nullified the other one out, so you're actually safe over there. So
Nice.
yay for you on that one. But it does actually, so not only does it protect, it also attracts certain peoples. And one particular person is going to come and is going to literally come walking up to the castle that's here. So one of the things that, you'll get is down below, obviously the door that was down below has been kind of worked on to be a little less dangerous for those just trying to use it, but it's still, of course, very secure. The area that's, on the staircase where that broken bars and that big boulder and stuff like that have been kind of like taken down and repaired, so the stairs are proper stairs to come up. But you also have guards outside too. As we've described this place a million times before, and it's kind of a valley in the middle of this mountainous region, as well as the mountainous region itself. All that area has been being prepared to build a town, even if there isn't one being built there quite just yet. And eventually you have like guards come up to you and be like, Chosen of the Quill, a gentleman has come looking to speak to who's in charge. We of course informed him that you were the one that was in charge. May he seek audience with you. He was a man, my apologies because this is obviously important. He's a man by the name of Isaac Trode.
Easy chode.
Isaac Trode? You say easy chode?
Isaac chode.
I said easy chode.
Scott's like, well, that's this NPC ruined. God damn it. Yes, easy.
Okay. To come and speak with you. Does he have permission to? This session's useless. Do we just quit the session? Do we just cancel?
Look, Rowan is always down for an easy chat. Yes. Yes, let's
Cancel the session.
Rowan would like look up from, I presume he's got like his ledger, he's done a bit of light maths, thinking, Jesus, how are we going to afford all of this? Yeah. He'll put it down.
How am I going to afford this? And a magical bird appears, solves all of his problems. He's like, life's so hard.
Maybe we should pluck it and sell its feathers.
Actually, you can pluck its feathers. If it willingly gives you a feather, it acts as an ever-burning torch.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Which can be sold for gold pieces. Yeah.
Anyway, Isaac Trode, send him in.
So, so you send the gentleman in. So, when the gentleman comes in, I mean, he's kind of an older gentleman. He's, middle-aged, kind of like a thicker guy. You can see clearly as he walks in, he has like this look to him and this lack of a better phrase, smell to him. That suggests not only has he been traveling a bunch, the smell of the road, right? But he also has this like smell to him that smells like burning coals and burning wood and stuff like that. The burns that you can just see kind of like on his arms and just like how rough his hands are. You can see even just like little marks on like one of his cheeks and whatnot. That suggests that this is somebody that is very, very, very hands-on, very active person, right? Not some Arthur Freyam, right? Some fancy boy. So
how tall is he?
He actually stands at about give me 1 second. He actually stands at about 6'3".
Oh, thank God.
Why?
I thought you made Isaac Trode and then made him short and fat. You said he was thick.
So he looks more or less like an older version of my brother William. Okay, he's 6'3". He looks like William, but like older. Okay, let's just put that image in your head. Think of William. Okay, the one who roleplayed Nathan and whatnot, like him, but older. Jesus Christ, Dan. I almost spit coffee all over my computer. Oh my God. Oh God. Jake, save us!
Oh, that was good. He deserves to laugh.
Oh, come on!
Mycin might have been right about me.
Yeah, he was. All right. Anyways, he it's one of those things, you know, he has dark black hair, you know what I mean, but it already has grays coming in and whatnot because there's no getting around the fact that he just happens to be a middle-aged guy. He's, you know, late 30s, early 40s, which is middle-aged in D&D, but not in real life. Late 30s, early 40s, and you know, that's kind of there. He has a kind of like a longer face, so on and so forth. And he's, of course, you know, got clean shaven. So again, if you imagine my brother Will, but you know, clean shaven, all that fun stuff aside. One of the things that you notice as he comes walking in, even though he's just kind of coming off the road, he is wearing what looks to be a bit of leather armor. But I mean, let's be serious. Even though this is acting as leather armor as he travels the road because that's safety, he's not actually wearing armor. You can see that what he's actually wearing is kind of like protective gear. There's no get around the fact that this man is very obviously a smithy. You can just see that as he walks in, very easily judge it. Neil, why don't you go ahead and roll me a sense motive check since I know you're inevitably going to roll one anyways.
What? I am not. What's his face?
Yeah, shut up and roll it.
But I would like to get a read of him. He's a smith. He's a bit smelly. He's tall and thick.
Tall and thick. That's right. He's full mast. All right. Anyways, moving on. Yeah. So, anyways, when he comes walking in, do you open conversation?
Yes, Rain would like. Obviously, sitting down. He'd my ribs. Nice. He'd sit up. He'd look up, you know, close his book and smile pleasantly and say, "Mr. Trode."
The patron that created this character, can I just have you come up with a new name now? Because I don't know if I can deal with this for forever. You know what the worst part about you doing this, Neil, is? I'm just straight out. No. We're opening up the hood. Okay, usually we don't do that. I'm opening the hood.
Anno.
There's very, very obviously a patron created character. Okay, just clearly stating it, and it's named
I
after.
didn't realize that.
It's named after a character they used to play in a campaign before. So you are literally taking one of their favorite character concepts that they retrofitted for your campaign, and just said.
Oh my god.
I'm not even gonna wipe. I'm not a proper gentleman.
I'm not even. Wait. Well, if it makes you feel better, I got a beautiful screen cap of that face.
Hurt my neck doing it, so I hope it's funny.
Let's go right into Kingmaker spoilers. So I hope this makes it up to you, Anno.
All right, cool. Let's continue on. To be fair, Otto is a chode. So you say, Mr. Chode. Trode! Damn it! I just want to play the game. Why can't I just play the game? I blame Tesh. This is Tesh's fault.
Please cut that.
This is the worst. This is the literal worst. Okay.
Woo.
My neck hurts now. This sucks. Let's just keep going.
You were saying.
You looked up and said, Mr. Trode. And that's all you said?
Yes.
He will respond simply.
You've ruined his character.
I was trying to introduce him for 3 sessions. And this is what happens.
He's gonna say, "Please call me easy."
That's exactly what I'm gonna say. That's word for word exactly what I'm gonna say.
Oh my god. Whoever made this, thank you, because I've not laughed like this in a good number of months.
Whoever made this, chump the fuck out of this cunt. Sorry. All right. Where's my chair? My apologies. This is. Oh God.
Okay.
Let's keep
I
going.
think if I don't look at Scott's face, I can keep it together.
Yeah, let's just look away. I'm just gonna stare at the name.
Not the name, don't stare at the name. Whew. Okay.
I just can't get the line out. Please. I can't even do a voice at the moment. Please call me Isaac. Oh, I can't even do a voice at the moment because I can't stop laughing. Oh God. I don't have water next to me. This is terrible. Oh God, I don't know if I could do a voice. Too much laughter. Please call me Isaac. He just says with a deep voice, not quite like that, but a deep voice. And I don't know if you respond to that or if you have him just kind of jump into speaking.
Isaac, how can I be of assistance?
It's actually a matter of how we can aid one another. I'm a tradesman, as I'm sure you can tell. I've moved about a few times. Each place I go, I open a different shop, a different location where I may work my trade. And I can see that you are currently coming into the area looking to begin your own mining expedition. Now, while there is a mining town not too many miles from here, a couple dozen at most, I can clearly tell that this area here is backed by something more than just a small town. There are a lot of soldiers in the area, many workers, a proper flag, which is a bit hard to make out, but it's quite nice.
We're still waiting on the seamster to get back to us. There's a lot of artisans, different ones that have to get involved, you see.
Yes, and it's artisans where the backbone of a nation relies on. Seeing that this is a place perhaps a bit more deserving and, may I be so bold as to say, needing of talents like mine. You're coming into a mining expedition, but I don't see anybody properly building the locations that you need to succeed here.
I'm listening.
You need a foundry and somebody that knows how to work it. You need a smithy and someone that knows how to lead it, and perhaps someone that knows how to craft well. You also need a properly made mine. Now, I'm not sure what kind of ore you're going to be cutting into in this area, but considering what ore there is north of here, I imagine you intend to find such veins down here and maybe even stretch out that direction. I think that some degree of union between your nation and my business might be beneficial.
I see. Your business currently resides to the northwest?
I've closed it up as competition there is grown not to be my liking. I'm one of those people that will always offer fair prices. I'm not here to gouge, but I'm also not here to undercut other businesses. Unfortunately, not everybody plays fair. Before I got there, they gouged. I got there and I charged properly, and they, as the market will tend to do, worked together and then undercut my business, charging too little. It became not profitable, and I'm not one to take to arms, so I moved on. I offered the best goods, highest quality, but they offered a faster, more rapid number of goods, and they were willing to sell to the West. I was not.
By the West, you're referring to...
Paradel. And he kind of like looks at the table and then points at a map where there's Paradel to the west.
So to be clear, he came from there.
Yes. At least recently. But he said he's had a business in multiple locations.
I see. How many other businesses are at play over there?
There were 4 smithies. There were multiple businesses. They've since become one. It's not a small business. But more importantly, it's the mines. There are multiple mines owned by multiple owners. And Paradel is the easiest way to make some coin.
Very well. I am willing to entertain this. It could be a profitable venture for you, and one that would support my kingdom and that of my friends.
Now, I do need an establishment. Something that I'm going to be able to work within. I'm also going to need a home, a proper place to live. I don't expect you to just hand these things out to me, but we do need to have it established that I will need my own proper place. Honestly, truth be told, I like to work early in the morning and late into the evening. So even the foundry itself, if there were to be a home within the foundry itself, that would be fine for me.
You already remind me of Hansa,
Hansa.
a smith that resides within our capital. She's capable of working with living iron, cold iron, and various other interesting and rare materials.
I know who she is.
She traveled and saw you at your previous establishment? Or you have heard some tell of her?
She's originally from there. That's actually her hometown, and her brother resides there. In fact, her brother was one of the people that has joined his business with others.
Perhaps we could leverage her familial connection to entice him to join our business.
It's potential. Now, Hansa serves your kingdom?
Hansa is a dear friend and has served the kingdom on many occasions. She's provided arms and armor for both myself and our soldiers.
She's blunt. She's to the point. She's a fine craftsman. And she also believes in a fair price for a fair job. If there is one complaint that I can make about Hansa, it's that she's not willing to simply make something that is needed by those looking for goods. She will only make the highest quality products, and so therefore is not necessarily a person capable of selling to just anybody. She vastly
Most
limits...
Certainly an artisan.
Yes. She vastly limits the number of people that are able to shop there, which hurts her own business. I have managed many successful businesses over my years, and I can tell you that that's not the appropriate mercantile thing to do. Perhaps if you were to be in a big city, I believe that's why she eventually went to Hardgwen. Though if she's with you and with rumors of what's happened with Hardgwen, I imagine she found failure there as well.
As did Hadgwen, ultimately.
I imagine it's still about.
Rather a different format. Now, you require a substantial financial investment for a foundry to be built, for a smithy to be built. What sort of profit are you looking to gain?
I will manage these facilities, and after they're established, I can handle other details if you'd like. As I said, I've run many successful businesses beforehand. Hansa is a brilliant craftsman, terrible bookkeeper. I could even look over her smithy if she happens to have one, or any others that you might need. I know my way around a ledger, and I'm more than willing to prove myself if need be, but you provide for me the location where I can live out my passion, and I'll return the favor in providing my expertise, not just in crafting, but also overseeing, managing.
I'll have to secure agreement from one of the other chosen. However, I see no reason why they would object to this. I would say, if I could persuade you to work with Hansa, as you say, we must produce the tools that people require, the items that people wish to purchase. However, having an artisan who is willing to work for a premium price for items for the discerning customer, if that were advertised, that would be greatly beneficial to our economy. Furthermore, we would leverage her familial connection and dismantle the other conglomerate to the west. Artie, you want lunch? She wants lunch. She'll get it.
So he says, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I just simply think that she needs to be allowed to focus on what makes her happy. Have a smithy take care of the appropriate smithing, and have her take care of what best benefits her tastes. There's a place for her in a thriving kingdom, but having her as a primary smith is playing down her value. In game terms, he's more or less suggesting that she actually, instead of her running a smithy, she should be running an exotic artisan shop instead. Yeah. Excuse me. More or less allowing her location, which if you're looking at the map, Valorant Tracker, Kurzfall, her location, the smithy there, would actually instead sit next to an exotic artisan shop, which requires to be next to a home. Unfortunately, the mansion was built to the other side of that, so you'd have to build a house on that location there. You know what I mean? But if you did that, she'd actually be able to turn this into an exotic artisan instead of a smithy. And then in theory, over in this other town that you're eventually going to be building,
we can build the foundry and the smithy.
You build a foundry, smithy, and potentially, because it's kind of far away from like your primary living areas, you can also put like a leather, what are they called, a tannery and stuff like that there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. Rowan would obviously need to speak to.
And how my apologies. How much is a smithy? Top of my head, I think it's 6. And an artisan shop is 10. So realistically, you're just paying the 4-point difference to transfer it after you make a whatchamacallit. Yeah. After you make a different smith, you can convert hers. But go ahead. I'm sorry. And he's so when he also says you had mentioned speaking to the other chosen. Now, I might be a bit out of sorts when it comes to the news here because we're a bit remote. You come from that nation called Kurzfall, and in your nation you have Valrin and One and Rayrin, which are the hearth and the blade and the quill.
Come from the nation of Valoran. Kurzfall is our capital, although these terms may seem far-fetched at the moment, as we are somewhat small.
It's again, I'm a bit removed. We're a bit remote from the rest of Idir over in the western edges. There's mountains that make it difficult to traverse. Truth be told, the fact that you have a nation so great as to stretch across these mountains is impressive. Where is your primary home? Is it in the plains, or is Leshev also a part of?
It is in the north heartlands, in the forests. Leshev is an ally.
So you simply just stretched a branch looking to make it. So in essence, this place will have to run almost as a vassal state, separate from your primary home, since there's such a disconnect.
I suppose for the moment. Think of it not so much as a branch, but as a web. Eventually, there will be more connections.
I'll nod to that. Just to make sure I annotate things correctly. Cool. So, so he will go back to saying, he's like, then do we have a degree of agreement? Of course, barring that you speak to another one of the chosen. How long would it take for you to send message to this chosen and receive it back? As that is some distance.
Rayrin will place a finger and a thumb on a ring on his hand, and use the ring of sending to cast sending to one.
Okay. Does that use up one of its limits?
It's not got like.
This is the one you got from the
It's 3 charges per day.
Yeah, that's from the other thing. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. All right, so what do you say to 1? 25 words or less.
Smith/merchant Isaac Trode here wants to run a foundry and smithy in the mountain settlement. Hansa to act as an artisan. No longer smithy in Kurzville. Wants our backing. Have Ravina dismantle competition. Thoughts? Seems good to me.
So with sending, I can reply.
25 words or less. You know who it came from by way of the spell, and you can reply immediately. And it's telepathic. You don't have to say it out loud.
Yeah. So you just get a reply that says, I would agree. Did you need my presence? Also, Ravina should thoroughly vet this person.
Rayrin would use a second charge of sending, I guess. And reply saying, agreed. Presence not required, simply agreement. However, if you wish us to vet this Mr. Trode, perhaps we should bring him through the portal.
Not until we know more about this person, but you should go ahead.
I've conferred with my fellow chosen. We are in agreement for the moment. There are a couple of other measures that we would like to see to, but for the moment, begin making preparations. I presume you would like to write up a contract.
He says,
Or, of course, you could swear fealty. He throws in like a grin at the end there to make that more of a joke.
He says, a contract could be drafted to make this official, I would have no problem doing that, of course. If you would give me an appropriate location and quill. Unfortunately, traversing the mountains, I slipped along a cliffside and hit my bag rather hard. My ink has splattered all over my belongings, and so some of them will have to be replaced. But with a bit of parchment and a quill, I'd be more than happy to draft something up now.
You may sleep in one of the bunks for the soldiers. I'm afraid it is not particularly comfortable, but it will suffice and is safe.
Compared to the mountains with these creatures about, I do have to say that a bunk sounds nice. Though, truth be told, it wasn't as dangerous as I had expected it to be. There is a creature that was buzzing about and seemed to be warding off the dangers that have never been present before a few months ago.
There are many dangers that are present that haven't been present months before in Idir. And yes, Athena is rather impressive. Rowan would stand up, pick up his book, motion to the quill and the ink. You may use it at your leisure.
Appreciate it. And he will kind of go to doing what he needs to do. Now, he's actually going to roll for drafting up that contract. I'll actually make a proper roll for him. Rolls better than Elliot. That's good news. So he actually drafts up a well-versed... It's one of those things where you're like, oh, Elliot might actually be impressed by the quality of contract this man is capable of writing.
I was not expecting it looking at him, you know?
Yeah. No, he looks like my brother. You don't expect it to be as keen as he is, you know? Look like a big dumb oaf. I make beer! Like, oh, okay, that's nice, buddy. But, you know. Anyways. So yeah, so he actually drafts up within the hour, you know, a proper contract, and he just does like a first draft. There might be like a couple spots where there's like a quick, you know, a correction here or there. We can see maybe one letter was written over with another one as he corrected what he was writing. But in a first draft, he makes something that's easily able to be signed into an agreement. It's not one of those like, oh, let me look this over and redraft it. Looking it over, it's actually pretty well established, so on and so forth. So more or less what he's saying is if he's willing to do all this work and manage these locations and whatnot for you in exchange for the appropriate locations. But he's willing to, of course, pay for his own abode to be constructed. Obviously, you're providing like foundry and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, well, the foundry obviously wouldn't belong to him. It's different because he's buying his house, but the foundry, simply he's working in it, you know.
Correct. Exactly that. So what we'll end up doing is, and just because part of the contract that he has there, because he wants to have close proximity to the different things that are kind of taken care of, blah, 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 is he would actually like to have these locations put on the edge of town that is closest to where the ore will be coming and going from. You know what I mean? And with that being said, more or less, if you imagine one of those, so lots of the little ones, and I can't remember what the blocks are called, but more or less one of those blocks, one of those will more or less belong to him. Not him, but, you know, not belong to him, but, you know, where everything's built.
That will be the
mansion, the
district.
smithy, and the, and so it'd be a mansion, a smithy, and a, what's it called? Foundry, all in one square.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah. So, and when I say mansion, it's funny that I say mansion because I don't want it to come off as like Leon's mansion, where it's almost like, you know, the president's manor sort of a thing, where it's like this, like, you know.
Yeah, Leon's got a bit of a palatial, you know.
Yeah, his is not like that at all. It's actually one of those things where it's almost like an extension of a smithy itself, where it kind of is like where he has his own pet projects and additional plans and additional storage for other things that he's got going on inside there. It's not a proper mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Foundry requires water, don't forget. That's right. So you actually have to have a waterway. Let me actually, thank you for reminding me of that, Steve, because that actually does, because that might change slightly what I'm saying. Where do I have Foundry open here? So Foundry requires limit adjacent to water district border. So let me, and that's a 2-lot thing. Give me 1 second. Water district. So a mill has to be a pier adjacent to a waterfront adjacent to a water district. So a waterway counts as a water district for adjacent. So actually what you can do, so a river or canal occupying part of a district at the GM's discretion, national waterway might already exist in the grid. So more or less what you'd have to do is have more or less a waterway kind of mined out of the ground. Like for like the, more or less they'd have to flow water that like naturally kind of flows through, the mountains that get in this area, like water has been cut out of the mountain.
If you find a stream that's naturally in the mountain.
So what we would do then, actually, let's change this slightly. So I'm just going to work with town here for the sake of everybody to be looking at it. And I don't know if you're looking at town 3 under your thing. If you just click that for now, because we haven't named it yet. That's why it says town 3 still. If you almost imagine if it went, I can't control over there. Sorry. Foundry, Foundry, so yeah, Smithy, and then like waterway, right? You can kind of do it like that, and then you just do like 1, 2, 3, change these to kind of like this color right here.
Is there a requirement for waterway?
There is for the Foundry specifically.
No, but I mean like, surely you can't just build a waterway anywhere.
It has to have some degree of water that you'd be able to have access to, right? So we'd say that I would have to have you pay to have it mined from the mountain.
Well, I'm thinking if we literally send out people dowsing, where's my rule line?
Well, Nathan could help with that too.
Dowsing up this way.
Oh, sorry, I'm not looking at what you're pinging. My apologies. 1 second.
Dowsing up towards the highest peak.
Yeah.
You can literally like just build an aqueduct for a hex.
Oh, that's right. You can need an aqueduct. That's right. Because I was thinking I would have to have you, but aqueduct is literally how you can do it. And I think aqueducts actually have some really cool additional benefits that come with them too. Give me 1 second. Where are you? Terrain improvements. Aqueducts, while expensive, give +1 loyalty and stability, and also allows settlements to build a water-dependent buildings, which is cool.
So we don't need a waterway.
No, you need the aqueduct to make the waterway. Yeah. Must one end must be a hill and must pass through any type of hex. Yeah.
But it says it lets you build water-dependent buildings, right?
Correct, but that allows the water to flow in. So, and it's not crazy expensive either, honestly.
Yeah, but let me look. Because surely, if it lets you do that, you don't need a waterway. It's just like an extra bit that you don't necessarily need. Whereas an aqueduct.
An aqueduct brings water from the alpine lakes and rivers to lowland cities where water is scarce or insufficient for local populace. A finished series of aqueduct hexes must connect to a hill or mountain hex with a river or a lake. One end on one end and a settlement on the other ends. Otherwise, you do not gain its benefits. Terrain. One end must be a hill or mountain, so that'd be like, 2 up, and can pass through any type of hex. Effect. Loyalty +1, stability +1. Allows one settlement to build water-dependent buildings.
Is Foundry not a water-dependent building?
It is, but waterfront is also a thing. Oh, no, never mind. Waterfront is a waterway. Counts as a water district border for adjacent buildings. Counts as a water district border for adjacent buildings. A river or canal occupying as part of a district the GM's discretion, national waterway may already exist in the grid, requiring no action or BP to build. If you construct a city wall that touches their waterway, you must also build water gates in the same turn. That's fine. But it doesn't say that, see how it says a river canal occupying as part of a district grid can like naturally do this for you. And that's why we have that in like grid and stuff like that. But it doesn't say aqueducts do that for you. So you would still have to have the water, you have to have the aqueducts tunnel it in and the waterway to then access it. And that's kind of how we would do that one.
Adjacent to water district, I see.
Yeah, because it doesn't specifically say.
It doesn't just require water presence, it needs a water district, yeah.
So it's a bit more of a cost. So give me 1 second, because this cost gets expensive. So if the hex contains any rivers, double.
And one end must be a hill or mountain hex, so we need to send out explorers to find a hill or a mountain with a river or.
Well, so where you currently are, so going back to the map, I'm going to zoom in over here on chat for everybody to see a little bit better. So if you look over here, what you would end up doing is you end up building a water district, because like this, you can kind of do like 2. So if you claim this hex here, you can kind of go like this, and that'd be fine. That would tunnel in water from like that whole region.
But it needs to be a hill or a mountain with a lake or river.
Let me make sure.
If you read it, it can't just be any.
This is
hill
from
or mountain.
alpine lakes and rivers to lowland cities. But because the way aqueducts work is, I mean, there's not like a hex that is a lake or a river, right? But you can imagine there are lakes and rivers that exist there.
But it says a finished series of aqueduct hexes
correct.
must connect to a hill or mountain hex (open brackets) with a river or lake on one end and a settlement on the other end.
But just because a lake is not represented in the map doesn't mean there isn't one.
Yeah. I agree. I'm just saying you need to get people to find it, right?
And I actually honestly think, because if you remember the way that because this building's in the southeast corner of this map, just so you know, Neil, and we actually don't even have to go north. Remember, it's in the southeast corner of the map, and the highest mountain edge that it's built on is literally the mountain edge of the castle was built into. So you could actually, if you claimed this hex down here and came up this way, I would actually say that's fine as well. You know what I mean? Because more or less the highest mountain, aside from this over here, the highest mountain is coming up here.
Yeah.
So I'd say if you claimed and build up aqueducts there.
I mean, it makes no difference to me. Either one is good.
Yeah. So that works. I am fine with it as it is. So it's just, of course, it's expensive to continue building and building and building all these different things, but it's going to allow you to have proper ore, finally have proper ore and whatnot going on. So he does say, of course, so let's just, because now that we have a stronger understanding of what you exactly need to do, because Steve reminding us, and thank you, Steve, he does say, I do have the supplies needed to manage my own shop. If you are willing to lend carts and manpower to collect my belongings, I could have them brought here. Meaning I would just need a structure or a smithy to be made. I have most of the supplies needed to properly fill it and run it. Same with a foundry. I have much of what's needed to properly churn the ore and smelt it. That's properly smelts the ore. Obviously, I don't have giant iron cauldrons or giant steel cauldrons sitting around, but it would help to supply the cost needed to build this foundry. Understands, though, as part of this union, part of this contract, it would be important for me to, if I should ever leave your nation, these belongings are still mine. They would leave with me when and if I leave this nation. The buildings obviously belong to you.
I would be impressed if you're willing to take a building brick by brick. This will require me to confer with my fellow leaders. For now, begin preparations. Any undertaking such as that requires carts, etc., which we would have to procure. Perhaps we could speak to Leshev.
I was personally going to suggest Leshev. I've had dealings with them in the past. I've traveled through Leshev many a time, and they're a good location for branching outwards to find different types of ore, especially Tasian ore, which is, as we all know, the good stuff. Getting proper Tasian ore through Paradel is not very easy, unless you're willing to give your coin to Paradel, since they own many of those mines now.
Very well then.
get to it, and I will return in a few days' time to see how progress is and update you on the situation.
Good. And I appreciate your taking the time to meet with me, and I certainly hope we're able to work together to bring great benefits to this land. Rumor is that you stand opposing Paradel. I hold similar sentiments in my heart. While they were willing to trade with Paradel, I was not. Their trade did benefit us in some way. They offered Paradel many supplies. I did as well to convince them to bring a small force in to handle the undead problem that was around our town. They have since left, as the trade was finished. That does mean that many of the undead in this area have been cleared. I assume the rest of Idir is struggling.
Things are better than they have been. It is in the closing phases now.
Glad to hear it. Thank you again for your time. I will...
Pleasure doing business, Ezek.
And he kind of goes and passes the F out.
You want some lunch, huh? You want some lunch? My cat wants some lunch. Be right back.
How dare your cat want lunch?
Come on, Auntie. Come on.
So, Jake, going to you for a second, sir. What the hell have you been up to? What are you, any important things that you wanted to handle over there? Or are you going to start heading over and into Hod Gwen? What's like your... how do you want to approach? Let me ask it this way. How do you want to approach being, taking over that spot?
Yeah, so what spot am I going into? The Viceroy?
Will you be Viceroy in Kurzfall or Valorant or whatever? But what spot would you want to be taking over in Hod Gwen?
Probably High Priest.
Let me look at your actual, sorry, I'm trying to look at your stats. Where's one? Or Grishka, I think, is your new character sheet. So... Your highest stat, of course. So your highest stats are actually Strength and Wisdom. Those are equal for you. So you could actually, it doesn't have to be Priest. You can take over any position that's good with both of those stats. I wish I realized that before we were talking about this. Because you can have any of those leadership roles as long as you're being beneficial there, right? So, Consort doesn't work for you. Counselor works for you. So Counselor could work as of Wisdom, but I don't really see you being a Counselor sort. That's the people.
No.
You could work as a General, adding to stability, which is important in leading the armies that are there, considering you still have those 100 orcs that are there, and so on and so forth. If you actually had it set that she was the ruler.
I'm terrible at army to army combat though.
That's only if it's actual army combat. And don't forget, you don't actually have to lead those combats. You can always
You'll call in
appoint
the big gun for that.
You can always appoint your actual lieutenants or whoever they are to actually lead the armies. Those are the commanders of an army, but not the general of the nation, right? Like you don't see, 4-star generals of the United States like walking into battlefields. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of hang back inside of an office with like a computer screen and go, "Yeah, kill that one." So, the cart general is Lieutenant Margaret Toady. She only offers a 2 to stability. You would be offering do you have that feat or no? I don't think you do. So you'd be offering a 4. You would already increase that by 2, which is pretty awesome. Moving on from there, other strength-based ones. You could also be Royal Enforcer, which does add to loyalty. Currently, that's an empty position.
And you can do checks to reduce unrest. Or you fail the check and you increase unrest.
Yep. Only downside to Royal Enforcer is that having leadership does not benefit certain things. And then, let's see, we already mentioned Treasurer, but, and Viceroy, you're not going to do Viceroy. And then Warden is the other one. So instead of General, you can actually take over as Warden from Deputy Picard, who, by the way, Deputy Picard already has a 3. You can kind of like take over his spot and move him somewhere else, So it's kind of.
Yeah. So I'd be thinking, because I'm the high priest.
And
of
also, if you're the high
Daelric.
priest over there, that means more or less you're walking in and saying, Vroga, 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 toga party, Vroga, you know, but whereas a slumbering queen may be like, on the contrary. So,
Yeah, I know.
But we're also the religious leaders of Idir.
no, you're the religious leader of Valorant.
Idir.
Valorant.
I
Idir.
would agree with Neil.
Valorant.
You've been outvoted.
Your votes don't count?
Actually, you're the one who's not chosen. Your vote doesn't count.
This is 1919 United States, and you're a couple of ladies. So,
Wow. God damn. Imagine going from how funny this session has been to that.
yeah, I know. Isn't it sad? It's only been 100 years. That's really sad. But moving on.
I'm wondering though, because I've been in my position for so long, I get a +1 on my task back at home. So if I was to go from high priest to a high priest role, would I keep my?
I'm so sorry. Say that one more time.
You know how you've worked out if you're in a role for 12 months or
Yes.
more, you get like an
Oh,
additional.
it's not 12 months. What it is my apologies. As opposed to 12 months, it's actually the number of ranks you have in a skill. So if you look at 1, because he counts as having 10 ranks in knowledge religion, because you have, I think, skill focus and you're high enough level to have that many ranks, you actually get a +2 to the roll because of that.
Oh, that's what it's from. All right.
Yep.
I thought it was.
Nope, you're fine. The month thing pertains to specifically patrons and whatnot, I believe. So let me just look at that.
I also thought that you got a +1.
Yeah, I think it is every. Like for every
Oh,
position.
yeah, for a position held. But you'd be at 0 over there. You'd walk in it as a 0. I forgot that I also did that.
So what would I be adding if I went to Royal Enforcer? Would that be a 4-2 loyalty?
I think it is loyalty for Royal Enforcer. I think stability is honestly the most important thing, which is why I was kind of looking at general and whatnot. But yes, it is loyalty.
All right, what's the loyalty for Hogwen at the moment? Where is that?
-10.
-10. All right, so that's not gonna do shit.
But that's because their unrest is currently at 10, and they have a -10 from the water crisis and other stuff going on. So it's one of those things where
Even
you
though
guys.
the water crisis was fixed, but we can, you can reduce the unrest with the Royal Enforcer, which you can't do with General.
Correct. So maybe even temporarily there is a good idea. It's just stability is like one of the most important things because right now you have to roll an 18 or higher to beat the control DC. And that's frightening.
Well, I could move into General and move the other person to Royal Enforcer for the moment. I want High Priest, but I keep getting so much pushback on it for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's just simply, you know.
Is High Priest vacant?
But no,
No,
it's
it's
the
not.
Slumbering Queen.
Ugh.
And that's her
Exactly.
home. So that's one of those things where walking in and being like, I'm going to help manage this situation. It's going to be a lot more difficult if you walk in and say, I'm taking your spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but she has no power.
It's her home, and she definitely does. She was an elected official.
She was elected by us.
She's an elected official.
By us.
Sure.
I am the Senate.
Look, if it's to start that way, I will come in as General then. And then I'll work out what to do later on with in regards to getting rid of her.
So is this actually the path that we want to go? Because I love this path. I think it's cool.
I think so. But I'm just letting you know, my ultimate goal is to unseat the Slumbering Queen from high.
Oh, obviously. We already know what you want to do with this place. I mean, there's literally a mole ruins here that is able to be turned into any form. So either you're turning it into a castle, or you're turning it into a palace, or it's turning into a cathedral.
It's getting turned into a fortress of the faith.
Which Fortress of the Faith, I think, is a cathedral that had something else added onto it. I actually think that's an add-on, not an actual building, if I remember correctly.
I think it's a building.
Let me just double check that one because I thought that was one of those weird ones where it was actually an additive, not a
I'm wrong.
Yeah, you see how it has 0 BP? So Citadel's
80 or something.
Citadel's built by, I believe, blah, blah, blah. So it's actually because it has 0 lots on there, 80 BP with 0 lots. So you actually, you actually have to,
Jeez, that's an expensive building.
Yeah, because
So
it's not even a building.
expensive,
First, you
yeah.
have to make a cathedral, which is 4 lots. And don't forget, it's
And then
half
you
the
add it-
cost.
So what? That's 80. So that's half the cost. So it's 40 added on to the cost of the cathedral.
What do
After
No,
you
no,
build
no,
a
no, no.
cathedral, and then it's
you build the cathedral, then you pay the 80 to turn it into a fortress of the faith. Yeah.
oh, fucking hell. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but if you look at what it does, you know what I mean? Like, actually has like a huge impact. So,
Yeah.
so
all right, let's end game stuff then. All right, I get it.
well, with how much BP you guys get from everything, yeah, not that end game.
Yeah.
But either way, so cathedral is what you're going to want to turn that into because of what we've talked about forever ago.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about a cathedral is that it's half that cost. So instead of 58, it's only, what's that, 29 to build? It's actually not that bad. So, and it does like -4 unrest. Whew, that's crazy. So, yeah.
All right, so we got a plan.
This halves the
there's-
consumption increase for promotion edicts. Like, come on, that's crazy. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so if that's where we're going with it, I don't know if I should talk to Rayron about it first, but I will want to speak to Nelly.
I think that Rayron's going to need to come home so that you guys have to have a proper conversation both about easy.
Rarian would go home after that convo with what's his face because he said he's going to go and come back a few days later. You know.
Yeah, more or less like, I'll confer with you again in a few days. So he can just kind of step through the portal and go chat with you. So go ahead. Why don't we actually just take care of that right now?
All right, so Rayron's come back.
Ah.
Yep.
Joey just made a terrible suggestion.
Yeah, I've
Swatch
seen it.
rolls with
Don't-
it.
don't
Yeah,
start
it's
that way.
yeah. Oh, sure. You come be the high priest with your cult that we're suspicious about in our hometown. That's perfectly safe.
No, we say that, but we don't tell her about the portals. She travels up, and on the way up, she falls in the river. What a shame.
She
What
falls
does
as- falls
Spymaster
asleep
use?
there.
That's his intelligence and what?
Dexterity?
It would appear she fell asleep.
What's the penalties for not having a Spymaster?
-4 to economy?
No, it's not that. It's bad. It's
No,
not
it is.
Spymaster, it's
-4 to
bad.
economy.
He's lying. Don't listen to him.
I see it right there. It's on stream even.
And unrest increases by 1.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Is he lying?
I see it right there.
He's lying.
I'm not.
Oh, no, it
Joey-
does. Oh, it does. I just clicked over to the other page. Yeah, that's bad.
I might slot into Spymaster for now.
That is dexterity or
Intelligence. They're both
Intelligence.
the same.
you
That's
can
bad.
you can move somebody else over there into Spymaster. Like say, I suppose you don't want Lieutenant Toddy.
What does Spymaster give? Is it stability?
It's
or-
economy.
No, it's anything.
Oh,
Economy,
that's
loyalty,
right.
Or stability.
That's right. That's one of those special ones where it can be whatever you want, like ruler. I think it's the only other one that does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of the -4 to economy. I'll slot into Spymaster for now.
Unless there's somebody you could take with you, because currently you do have somebody that has a spy master position, that has spy master experience that's not being used.
Who is that? Oh, okay. So are we getting Dwayne his
Dwayne.
old job, but at a different place?
At the people
Oh my god,
talked to him.
that is perfect. We have to. Okay, I'll go. All right.
Commissar
So,
Grishka.
Rayron,
Commissar Grishka is amazing. Oh, that's awesome. I kind of want to see Commissar Grishka like art now. Is there orc commissar art for like Warhammer? That'd be amazing. But go ahead,
There
sir.
is.
Go ahead, Jake. I'm
all
sorry.
right, so Rayron comes back. I guess I'd go seek him out. Just be like, Rayron, how did your meeting go?
Well, this merchant, Smith, Isaac Trode, he wishes to build a foundry and a smithy in our keep up there. He was forced out due to competition that I wish to dismantle.
I
He's
would agree with that.
offering a substantial amount towards it. However, he warns that were he to leave, he would also take that with him. Fair enough. To retrieve his items, it would require carts and some soldiers. I've not given a yes or no yet.
Could be highly beneficial.
I feel it might.
Should have Ravina look into him a little bit, make sure he's everything that he says he is.
Yes.
Besides that,
Ravina is going to be rather busy over there for a short while, I imagine. I intend to get him looked into, and also the competition, as it were. I'm going to get her to uncover some dirt, etc., sabotage, and bring them down. I think she should be able to accomplish this.
it's a good task for her to do.
Indeed. I understand that these companies are supplying weaponry to Peridel, so the sooner we stop that, the better.
Yes. No, I would agree. That is a sound plan. Now, there's been some things I've been thinking about lately. With the news that Ravina brought of Peridel claiming land in Idir, there's a couple of things which I feel might be beneficial. Firstly, I think I should go to Hodgwen, place myself on their council, and start laying the roots there to absorb them at a later date. Start making inroads there. I believe my position as High Priest could be filled by Nelly. She's been with us since the start, and she's been quite loyal. Apart from that, I was also thinking about bringing Dwayne with us, because we have not permitted them to have a spy master, and if he is willing, that would also give us more, at least more knowledge in what's really going on there. And I would take the position of general. Seems to fit the most. I wish to be act as high priest there, but uprooting slumbering queen would be not advisable as of the moment.
You're welcome.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's not bad. Dwayne might be reluctant to return there after everything that occurred. We'll speak to him together. As for you as a general, are you sure?
For now. I can talk to the troops, keep them in line, that type of stuff. However, if we are to go to war, our combined army would be best led by General Jaeger, as we well know.
Indeed. I think we'll not be going to war if we can help it, though.
Well, I would agree. That brings me to my second point. Apart from that, I feel that we should dispatch messengers to all the free cities in Idir towns and call a council. They should be made aware of what is happening with Peridel, that Peridel are claiming Idir as part of Peridel, and we should use this to our advantage and try and unite Idir with a common cause. I believe that we should take people that are willing from every settlement and recolonize Estrad.
I agree wholeheartedly to the first suggestion. The second, however, is rather an undertaking. Yes, I suppose it needs to be done, but there is a Peridel army in there. I would not want something we lead to become a massacre.
Of course not. We would not be going there to war. We would be going to settle. These are not their lands.
These are Paradel. However, say, if this expedition was led by a more neutral party, someone who has shown to wish to help refugees in the past, respected by the refugees of Hadgwen, perhaps we could dispatch the Slumbering Queen on this mercy mission.
You get a massive smile from one, and he thinks, do you think you could convince her of this undertaking?
She wishes to help the people. People need homes. People without homes will be requiring more aid from her and her people.
Should this be brought up in the meeting or beforehand?
In the meeting, I think.
I would agree. I think we should dispatch the riders at once. It will be some time before it can they can send their people. And I'd suggest, where would you suggest meeting? I'd like us to lead this undertaking. but-
The riders, don't forget, are currently in Leshev. Or say the walkers are currently in Leshev.
I'm
Yeah,
talking
but-
about just individual riders, messengers.
Yeah. I see no reason not to hold the meeting in the name of Valorin in Houtgwen.
Why Howdgwen?
It is the ancestral capital of this place. The fact that we can use it as a meeting point illustrates something. We are being impartial, neutral, but more than that, we are letting the people know that Howdgwen is ours.
I can see the wisdom in that. I would agree.
Very well then. Must speak to Dwayne and Ravina.
Yes.
So, we'll have a conversation with Dwayne first. Let him know what's what. Kind of like you call for him.
Dwayne,
comes in.
how are you doing, my friend?
I have to say, I expected to come back home and have a load of work to do, but it's been months and it has been relaxing. The summer has proven to be kind of a mild one. The hunt has been wonderful, whether it be to cleanse the lands of undead or you know, catch myself a good fawn. It's been a rather nice. I thought about retirement for some time, and I have to say I've been enjoying it.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
He hears the word enjoyed. He got his attention.
How would you like to attend some classes with Ravina?
Classes.
She is exceedingly talented at what she does, well trained. You could learn a lot from her. And quite frankly, we need someone we can trust wholeheartedly. You fit both of those bills.
Listen, I held the position before Ravina. I don't think that I need to, am I taking her spot?
What we would like is for you to take a position as spy master within Houtgwen.
Oh,
I will also be there. You'll not be on your own.
You will not be abandoned.
okay, go on.
Like I say, we need someone we can trust implicitly in this role. I speak for both Juan, Ilan, and myself. We trust you implicitly. However, extra training from a classically trained spy would not necessarily go amiss. And you could spare a few weeks away from Howd Gwen to come back and enjoy your relaxing time while also being tutored.
I'm wondering, and please counter this if you feel it necessary. If you think she's so fine at her job, think she's so excellent that she could tutor me on how to do that job, would it not be wiser to send her to Hod Gwen, who doesn't already have, I suppose, emotional ties that are there that might cause some underpinnings, and have me continue the role that's here with the structure that's been built originally by me, expanded on by her, and have me hold this seat and have her go there?
Raise a
I
valid
thought that
point.
myself, Dwayne. However, that's why we spoke to you first before speaking with Ravina.
I'm not unwilling.
You-
Please don't misunderstand my suggestion as unwillingness. I'm interested in going and finding who it is that's fully engaged in the activities that transpired before. I'm aware of Greris. I've been in my leisure also reading the books that were written by her during the time that you had her as a prisoner. It's
You've had a thorough study.
it was listen, knowledge of how a local kingdom has been run. I figured I'd give it a good read through in case I was taking the position back from Ravina. So I figured I would know it. So I have read through it. Please don't misunderstand. But
I'm impressed.
I'd be interested to know who it was that, down to the last person, was involved in this network and finish fishing them out. But I just know that I cannot go into the situation without emotional investments. I'm just going to be honest on that one.
Dwayne, would you give me a second with Rara?
Always. He does say, just a few moments, or should I go for a hunt? I know how he speaks. He says, nodding to Raren.
He just gets a chuckle and he says, just a few moments.
He'll nod and say, a drink then, and kind of walk out towards where it is that you guys would have that stored.
Raren, what he says makes a lot of sense. And whilst Dwayne is...
Ravina is a wanted woman by both Peridel and the Arcane Congress. Putting her in such a public position would put her at risk.
You're right, I didn't consider her well-being.
I agree that she's
got-
extremely skilled, but
I was more worried about Dwayne's emotional attachment in Hot Gwen.
yes, it is not an ideal situation. But, he would not betray us. He maybe would
No, he would not.
conduct a little bit of vigilante justice, but what's wrong with a slaver or two being killed for their crimes?
I agree wholeheartedly. However, if he was to do this on his own and get found out, it would look bad on us.
We would just have to make sure that should he find anything out, he comes to us first.
Yes. As much as an asset, I know Ravina could be, and especially delving in and discovering what's really going on in Hard Gwen. You're right, her well-being is...
She can still conduct missions in Hard Gwen, but putting her in a public-facing, well, not a public-facing, but a role on the council increases her risk significantly.
It does. I have no... Like I said, my first thought was to take Dwayne. However, I don't know really how emotionally scarred he is from that place. And I didn't want to find out in the moment. but Ravenna is too important, and that could endanger her, taking her. So you may be right. This is a tough one.
Observe him. Keep a close eye on him. Do a good read of people. If you feel he's unstable, send him back.
Agreed. We just yell back out to Dwayne.
He comes in. He comes in having a goblet, like a stone goblet with a drink inside of it.
None for us.
You're working.
I would like to make this perfectly clear that this is a request.
I understand. Is this something that we're going to bring forward these plans before the rest of the council?
He looks to Ray and he says, I don't believe we need to. We should inform Ravenna, as you'll be working closely with her, but you are not to be on this council. You are to come with me to join another.
I understand that. And actually, to that end, and again, I don't want you to misunderstand my meaning here, because I am not trying to weasel my way out of this position. I actually am very excited for it. I'm just trying to point out all avenues. Arthur has, I've been engaging with him. I didn't really know Arthur before I left. He was just kind of coming as I was leaving.
See why he's friends with someone named Fox.
He's, a conniving little fucker, isn't he?
Good drinking, buddy.
He's not exactly a bad person to have on hand as well, especially considering he has a lot of connections. And Hardgwen is where a lot of people will be traveling through. It's going to be a lot of diplomatic endeavors, and that man knows his way around a word. I again, would like to go with you, so I am simply posing ideas that might be beneficial, but I don't think I could fill Arthur's shoes here if he were to go. I think that I could definitely do a better job in Hardgwen than I would do here. I just don't know who would be better suited there. But I would prefer to go, to be clear.
As much as I would like to take some of our talented council members along with us, they are in established positions and are needed here in this kingdom.
Valerian comes first.
Fortunately, we are now having to rely on our talented friends.
Yes.
Even ones that want to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne, if you do come with me, I want you to slip back into those old shoes of yours. And
I sold them.
Well, we'll buy you new ones. But I know that you will investigate what happened to you, and I want you to. But I don't want you acting on your own. I want you to come to me and let me help you. Don't let anger take hold and do something rash that might backfire.
What makes a great hunter is somebody who's willing to lie in wait at the right moment.
Don't forget, your friends are chosen.
If you act with our permission or on our orders, we can protect you. If you act alone, that becomes a lot more difficult. Let your friends help you.
He nods and kind of like takes it in for a moment, and then he gives like a bit of a sly look and looks up at one and says, and for the record, I knew you before you were.
I was always chosen. You just didn't know it.
Imagine a room chuckle at that one. Awesome. And You should definitely watch the VOD, Ash. Just saying. You should definitely watch the VOD. Moving on. So yeah, you Ravina, then you get the kind of like he'll leave understanding what he's gonna do, and Ravina's gonna come in.
Ravina, how are you keeping?
Well enough. Been busy with the tasks that you've been giving me, but honestly, I think it's been working out well. The network we've established has been honestly good. We have a lot of loyal people here, very devoted people who are time and time again proving their themselves worthy. I actually even recently sent down a group to the southeast to see exactly how they're holding those lands that we are hearing are claimed to be theirs, and to see the defenses that are happening over in Estrad. I don't know what the significance of this presence is or what they intend to do, but I think it's important that we keep an eye on things.
I'm pleased that you're taking initiative in such matters. It's extremely important, and it takes a weight off our shoulders.
She'll nod.
I was wondering whether you might be able to look into something for me.
What would that be?
A name.
She like pulls out a book and starts like writing. Sorry.
A tradesman by the name of Isaac Trode.
She writes down the name.
Just a background check, cursory stuff, see whether anyone knows anything. And then furthermore, there is a settlement of sorts to the west. They were a mining settlement. They forced this gentleman out of business when he attempted to be fair, and they undercut him. Or at least that's the story. They are trading with Peridel. I would like for them to trade with us instead. One of them is Hansa's brother.
Interesting. So I suppose that's the first place I should go. Perhaps she likes to drink. And see if I can get any information from her.
Oh, good luck. If
Yeah,
you
we're going to
need
need
someone to talk to her, I'm happy to do so. She made me stab-proof armor. Raymond giggles to himself. And then these merchants, these tradesmen, I want for them to trade with us, work for us. However, if that isn't possible, then perhaps we will look into breaking them up. They're a conglomerate of sorts at the moment.
I'm pretty sure this location that you're referring to, that happens to be to the west of here, it's near the mountains. It's a mining town.
Indeed, in the shadow of the highest peak.
I'm pretty sure that's Drazstone you're referring to. It's a predominantly hobgoblin town that exists over there. Has been there for generations.
Brazdone.
Yeah. Draazstone. Draystone. Brazdone, Draystone, however you want to pronounce it.
I see. Well, I'm pleased to see that our spymaster is so well informed.
I've stopped by there, traveling to the east when I first came through here. I
course.
spent a few days.
If you'd be able to dispatch someone, then that would be appreciated.
Considering I've been there before, I wouldn't mind going there again myself. I know it's along the border, and so that would raise concern. But I have been there before, so I, again, don't mind personally visiting.
Very well. It will also give you an opportunity to meet Isaac in the keep. You could get a read from him there, see whether anything flags up. That is amenable. One here is traveling to take a position in Houtgwen. Dwayne is heading there as the spy master. I would like for you to tutor him when he is available.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll bring him with me. It'd be nice to have somebody that knows the wilderness as well as he does, and honestly, it might be good company.
An excellent idea. I approve. Raymond, like, he doesn't say dismissed because it sounds a bit.
Yeah.
But like he gives her a motion like you're free to go.
Yep. She'll look to one to see if there's anything he has to say, just like a quick glance and like a half a moment. If he doesn't seem to say anything, she'll of course
He
say,
would look at her and he'd say, just on the spot, how do you feel about us starting to make inroads in Hot Gwen for them to ultimately join us?
I think that obviously you have challenges set before you. There's caution that you need to have while you're there. You're going to be seen as a bit of a so what I'm looking for, a conqueror, considering how things played out in the very recent history. But if you play your cards well, you make the appropriate allies and work closely with them, that they are going to be able to, take a kindness to you as the other people of Idir have over time.
Just nods.
It is important, though. I cannot stress. It is important that you do make the appropriate allies while you're there. Like all other Idirians, they are a fiercely stubborn people that like their freedom and like their way of life. Even if you're going to change some parts of it, completely altering everything at once is going to be too much for them.
I would agree.
And she'd say, she'd like kind of give like a half bow, like a little, and then turn to leave, and then after like a step, turn back and take that step back and say, "Are you taking a position there?" Actually, before I even say that, let me actually roll to see whether or not she would have picked that up, because she's really good at this anyways. Are you taking a position there?
I believe so.
Personally?
Yes.
Then it's a good thing that you have two with you, considering that you're going to need some degree of aid. Obviously, two is someone that you can trust with your life. You know her better than any of us. Are you bringing anybody
You're
else?
referring to three.
Three!
Not two.
Three. In-game, it was three, not two.
You had a like 50-50 chance of getting it right, and you still got it right.
I could have said one. You bring one with you.
What did she say after that?
Sorry, she said, are you going alone or bringing anybody else?
I'm bringing Dwayne. We've forbidden them from having a spy master.
I do.
So that's why we'll bring one of our own.
He's already has fealty sworn long before I met you, so
And proven.
that makes
But he
sense.
does require a little bit of tutoring.
He does.
How cute. I'll of course gladly take care of that. If I might make one more suggestion then before I go, considering you personally are going to be going there. Your friends, Mork and Gork.
Yes.
Perhaps you should bring them with you as well. And if I may,
Having some loyal retainers.
and if I may, add a small amendments to this last suggestion. You're gruff, very gruff, which is fine. But if you don't want to come off as a conqueror, perhaps you need to show a bit of your softer side. Now, I don't exactly think you're going to go walking in there and trying to woo the slumbering queen, but perhaps bringing someone to be on your arm wouldn't be a bad thing. It would show that you're not just a man with an axe willing to conquer and fight wars and stand naked in a field before 1,000 charging soldiers, but also
covered in blood.
Covered in blood. Yeah, and we can continue, but it would show that you have a softer side. You're also a man, just a man that's also wants to start his own family and the like. I'm not saying get married, but for Christ's sakes, show that you're more than just some war chief.
You know, I was recently talking to a leader of a faction of the Free Folk. They believe that the Hetman deserves a second chance.
Well,
She'll
you
actually.
know all about the Hetman.
She doesn't know that reference that you guys both. Her, you know. At least you
did
don't
not,
think
thank
she
you.
does.
That was Valorant, not one. Thank you.
Yeah, there are no living Wiener cousins.
He got what he deserved. He got what he deserved.
He'd look to Rayron and he'd say,
The jokes only go downhill from here, so I'm gonna walk away.
he'd say, I could ask Tally if she'd accompany me.
Tally, the former mayor of
Rid.
Rid.
Good. Yes. Someone would have to, I mean, now that Rid is being resettled, someone would have to manage her affairs if she agrees to it.
Githel is rather fond. You could spend some more time there.
You could.
Softer side.
Tally does seem rather fond of you.
She says Tally's a bit soft-spoken, but would certainly do the trick. I mean, I'm a little offended you didn't ask me. She says,
Well, we've already had that
dripping with
discussion
sarcasm. Yeah.
when you were needed here.
Yeah.
He also says dripping with sarcasm.
Yeah. She
Yes,
goes,
I just couldn't bear to be parted from you.
no, I understand. The fire burns so
He gives
hot.
Ravina a look and looks at Rayron and he like gives her like a serious like, yeah, he's not lying.
So you give that look and she goes, and I'm going to make sure that before Dwayne leaves, he has a nice, lengthy conversation. I'm terrible at names and apparently don't have it written down with what's her name? What's her fuck? From I can't find her name. Guinevere. I'm going to make sure that Dwayne has a nice lengthy conversation with Guinevere, considering that she spent a considerable amount of time in Hodgwen. Maybe she can give him some insights on how it is to appropriately do his role there. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Ravina.
And we'll leave. Sorry, I could not think of the name.
What is it, RT?
And then walks out. All right. Any other chatty chats that you guys need to have with?
I
I
have
think
to
it's
talk to
time.
Nelly.
Yeah, he needs to talk to Nelly. Raymond needs to talk to Jaden.
Oh, there you go. He's like, no, Guinevere. I don't want that. I want the dead chick.
What the hell, dude?
Sorry. Formerly dead chick. Like, you know.
There you go.
I want to be the reason why her heart starts beating again. Anyways.
Easy.
So anyways, yeah, you let's go to what's her name first? Nelly. So you're gonna speak with her. And now we can imagine that in these months you've had interactions with Nelly, just nothing particularly long or noteworthy, because you've been very busy.
She came with me when we were chasing the angel around and stuff
They've
like
only
that. I
lasted
definitely
a few
would have
minutes.
kept in contact with her.
Oh, sorry, Nelly. I was confusing Nelly and Tally. So you're gonna bringing Tally with you there, and Nelly is the one that's staying here.
Yeah, I have to talk to Nelly about like her taking my role.
Yes, my apologies. I confused the girls. You've obviously spent a lot of time with this one.
Yeah.
This isn't the softer side of Sears one. Okay, cool. So, you are sorry.
I'd go down to the
Jeez.
newly built
90s.
temple.
Yep.
Now we upgraded to a temple now.
Yep.
I'd meet her down there.
Okay.
Sorry about Scott.
And so you head down to the Temple of Roga and would speak with her. Like, chosen. She would say as she's like kind of, you know, working on paperwork or whatever inside the temple, kind of the one running the actual temple itself.
How have you been?
No different than yesterday when I saw you.
Nelly, I have a task of great importance to you.
He drops trow.
Shut up, Neil. Mute
Unmute.
yourself. Oh.
Do you remember?
He's like, I want to introduce you to Electrode. Sorry.
Oh, it was just so good. Oh, dear.
Oh, moving on. Okay, you pause. You mute yourself, Neil. Go ahead. Jake, you were saying?
He just turns to her and he says, you remember when you first arrived here? Before Valorant was anything but a ruin.
I had two choices.
You did. What were they?
I could learn the error of my ways or hang for my sins.
And you chose?
Well, I am a quick study.
You are, and I have made it my business to educate you and tutor you in all of our ways. And you have done well. I even selected you to accompany me when we went to fight alongside the angel.
I feel like you're building up towards something. Like you're going to teach me some sort of secret ritual.
As important as secret rituals are, the task I have for you is more important. Nelly, I am going to take a role in Hodgwen. Only me, Rayron, Ravina, and now yourself know about this as of right now. The others will find out, of course, but I need to shore this up before. Now, you have been loyal and you have done well. You have taken in my teachings and are progressing very, very well. And I find myself at a crossroads. You see, if I am to leave and take up residence in Hodgwen, who will represent us here? Who will represent the faith to the people?
She nods, seeming a little bit downtrodden, says, I understand. It makes sense considering his background and everything that he's done. Similar history to yourself, but Mog is a force. He is a strong personality, and he definitely carries Vroga's will with him.
He does. Mog, whilst would be a fine worshipper of Vroga in his own way, he's not someone that the people can look to, and they must look to somebody in my absence. Somebody must keep teaching the ways of Vroga, and especially somebody that has seen the other side and has chosen the right side. Nelly, I need you to take my place.
She's like very enheartened by that, like heartened by that. Like she like looks up with like genuine excitement, and she says, "To lead the faith of Valorant."
Yes.
She.
Now, you know, we are chosen. There are 3 faiths represented here. However, you also know, by watching, I may be a little biased, as should you.
What do you mean bias? Like of Vroga over the other 2?
Yes.
Okay,
like
cool.
we,
cool.
we,
Yeah,
we
she
reckon,
nods.
like we,
She nods.
you
I
know,
just need to
you
make sure
know.
I understood you. She nods.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would have noticed after the last few months the number of worshippers we've had come in. We've had to upgrade from a shrine to a temple. That work is now on your hands. And I know, and I expect you to do well.
Might I Okay. Yes. I accept the offer. I'm excited for the offer. I think it's wonderful. I will maintain all the teachings that you've begun here and continue to push forward what it is that you've started while you go to Hod Gwen and begin there.
Yes. I have a difficult task ahead of me. However, you have a difficult one yourself. It's easier. I have started and set up things quite well for you here. If you ever need guidance, I am not that far away. You're able to reach me. And I implore you to do so. If there ever is anything that is testing or you just need somebody to talk to, remember that you're always welcome.
I will, I'm sure, many times seek guidance, and thank you for even looking to me. I don't think we know exactly what her modifier will be, so we're gonna have to roll that d4 minus 1 to see how it affects. So I'm actually gonna allow you to roll that.
Were you not minusing the one?
We're doing the d4 minus 1, yeah. The
I
typical
thought you
roll.
said you'd give her a flat roll because I've been teaching her.
Yeah, but that means she has a potential of having a 4. 4 is huge. For her to have a
She also
4,
has a
she would have to have at
potential
least,
thing,
she'd have to have skill focused religion and be second level, which is feasible. Or have skill focused religion and be second level. So you know what? I think I will. Chat, what do you think? I'm gonna make a poll real quick on this one as to whether or not it should be a 1d4 minus 1 or a 1d4. Give me a second to set up that poll. Manage poll. New poll. This is, what's her name? Nelly?
Yeah.
One minute poll starting now.
I can't believe you actually called him Mr. Jode earlier, Scott. Sill's not got that in clips yet, but I cannot wait for the one of I'm like, is he? How tall is he? And you're like, and you go to have a sip of coffee.
I haven't seen clips yet. I haven't watched any
Oh
of the
my
clips
god!
yet.
Make sure you watch those with your missus.
We haven't watched the backlog of the past 2 months. We're really gonna do so. It's just been busy. Maybe watch them while we're on vacation or something. We've just been very busy.
Have a week off.
I am in 2 weeks. We're playing
Have
next
2
week.
weeks off. Have 2 weeks off.
No, I'm good because next week is our between season week.
Is it?
Yeah,
Holy
and then
shit.
yeah, because this is 14.
Wait, we're leveling. Woo!
I didn't say that.
I mean, we level every season.
Yeah, but you're level 8 now. Things are a bit slower. 1d4.
I'm gonna level.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you had 9 votes for 1d4, 1 vote for Kill Rayrin, and 0 votes for 1d4 minus 1.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Anno.
All right, cool. So,
so
sir,
1d4.
flat 1d4,
Here
yeah.
come these great rolls.
I believe. I have faith.
Can I look diet? Hey, Mr. Sir. Yeah, she's normal. She's average.
At least it's not a 1.
Yeah, it's not a 1. Get our lock diet, Mr. Sir. Cool. So we can actually just go ahead and we'll leave her here for now. I'm just gonna write a 2 next to it for the moment. So remember that.
Pascal just said that twice and ignored. We just both he's like, can I look diet, Mr. Sir? We're both just blanking him as he's like, okay, I'll say it again. Blanked.
All right, moving on. And then you wanted to chat with Jaden. Jaden. Welcome to the Jaden remix. What are you rolling? What do I hear roll?
You don't hear a roll. You're losing it.
Okay. What's up? What?
I rewatched those clips and
Oh God.
it's refreshed that glorious memory.
moving on. So, you're going to talk to Jaden.
Yes.
It's been months. Now, you can imagine you've had some mild interactions here and there, but for the most part, she's actually kind of kept her time. She went to Kurzfall. She did. Cool. Then went back to the primary keep where you've been, but did not spend a lot of time around you. Like, you've bumped into her or whatnot, but for the most part, she kind of kept out in the wild. She stayed out there. The bird, even at one point in time, would have said to you, very recently, there's an affliction to her. I very well may be able to fix it. I don't know for a fact that it'll work, but I could try.
What sort of affliction?
She's alive, but not the same as you and I. It's like she has one foot in the grave. She has yet to pull it free.
I'll speak to her. See what she wants.
Okay. And you go and speak to her. You can imagine, like, it's one of those things where when you go to speak to her, it's probably like you're going to look out for where she is. And she tends to spend, the mornings over up on the eastern ridges, even though it can be dangerous over there. She spends the mornings over on the eastern ridges and just, sits there.
Raymond, come and sit next to her.
Sure.
Watching the sunrise.
Every morning.
Listen, I wanted to save you. I wanted to help you. I tried. In the end, Ilan, the martyr, saved you. And I ruined that. Rowan would reach up and start unlacing the sleeve of his padded armor.
Okay.
And then he'd slide it off, slide up the cloth underneath, and reveal the devil, tainted. I was bitten, and I treated it with devil's blood. The taint that lies within me tainted the magic that flowed through me into you. Athena thinks that she can fix what I've done to you, what I caused to happen. I don't want to cause any more harm to you. But maybe we could fix this, give you a proper chance at life. A second chance.
Rayron, you always were the fool. You think I'm not happy? She looks out at the sunrise and says, every morning, I feel the warm glow of the sun touching my skin. Every morning, I get to awaken in the cool, crisp air of these mountains, where once I died, and now I live. The air is so sweet, it smells so nice. My senses far more alive than they ever were before. I can hear creatures as they move about behind me. I can smell them. I could smell their... I swear I could smell their heartbeat. When I was brought back, I was tainted. And the taints did come from you. I'm not going to pretend like I understand these things, but I know it to be true. However, she places a hand on that forearm, right on that spot. It's not from whatever this is. That's your problem. There's something else that is in me. that I know came from in you. Because I can feel it. It's in you too, trying to find its way out. It just hasn't yet.
Perhaps Rayron would raise one of his hands and cast Shield Touch. So a soft blue glow emanates from his palm.
Sure. You can bleep it in chat.
Do you sense anything? Do you feel anything from this?
So Chill Touch specifically actually does
Negative energy.
no damage. Either sort, but must make a will.
He doesn't touch her with it, obviously.
So my apologies. Yeah. When you she says, I can feel magics pulsing off your hand. They're warm.
I'm informed that I possess a connection to the negative plane, the plane of my patron, the Arbiter. Perhaps I simply shared this with you. You could touch my hand, and we could find out. It may hurt, or it may terrify you.
I've died, Rayron. I'm sure no amount of pain that you can deliver will equal that. And then she reaches out and grabs your hand.
Rayron, instinctively recoils his hand at first because he doesn't want to hurt his friend. But then, he pulls back momentarily and then lets his hand be taken.
Her eyes don't wince. They don't widen. They don't do anything. There's no emotional response whatsoever. She takes your hand and nothing happens.
Nothing at all.
A warm feeling. You see no reaction off of her, but she says, a warm feeling. And then you say nothing at all, and she responds saying, a warm feeling rushed over my body, like the morning sun kissing my skin for the first time.
Neither dead nor alive. And you're happy like this.
She looks over at the sunrise and says, how long can you stare at the sun before it burns your eyes?
Well, I've never really tried. Not long.
She's staring at the sun.
You say you smell heartbeats.
It's the closest description that I've been able to come up with thus far.
Do you get hungry?
Of course I do.
What have you been eating?
Small game. Rabbit. Occasional squirrel, and I caught a goat recently. The working men were happy about that. We had a fine meal that evening.
Cooked. Good.
Not always, but usually. Sometimes it's easier to just keep moving. This area is not entirely safe, despite what that bird thinks it's doing.
Well, no, it's not. But where is truly safe?
She looks at you and says, with you. Maybe not from physical harm, but I know it's safe. She says, she says with you, and then she says that last line as she turns to look at the sunrise again.
Rarian would reach forward and take her hand.
She'll hold it. Again, her hand is not warm, but it's not cold either. It's just You feel her hand. Kind of like if you were to grab somebody's hand and you were warm and they were just like a normal temperature. Kind of like that feeling. Not like somebody had their hand on an air conditioner, which I don't know, you don't have those in the UK, but it's like this machine that like blows cold air when you get warm in the summertime. Anyways, so not like cold, but also not warm.
It's like 10 sentences on how cold/warm, but not quite. But you know, I touched something of the negative plane. It reached back. I haven't tried the knowledge it imparted in me, but I was looking for an opportunity to summon it, and seeing as you wouldn't be badly affected by it, perhaps you could watch over while I tried.
Ever with the experiments, she says, and she'll actually, she like lets go of the hands, and she stands up and takes a couple steps back.
Rowan would stand up, prepare himself, and then attempt to muster the energy that he felt.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not filled out all the bits, unfortunately, but that's what he ends up casting. It doesn't matter because it's thematic.
Yep, bestow planar infusion negative. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden you feel the energies and whatnot wash over you. Now I know I told you what it does before. I don't have that page pulled up right now, but one of the things that it does is it gives you the flip, meaning positive energy harms you and negative energy heals you. That's one of the two things that it does. So it actually gives you the flip on that. And so it's one of those things where you actually all of a sudden in cast that spell, you realize there is a stronger kinship between the two of you. It's, you can actually see, like, as you finish this incantation and it comes out, her eyes do widen this time and they narrow as she looks actually at your chest. She takes 2 steps forward and places her hand over your heart and says, "Do you feel that?"
I feel different.
Your heart, it now beats so slowly. And she takes your hand and places it over her chest as well. So you can feel that hers does the same thing. It beats, but it's like a lub, dub, lub, dub.
So this is what I did to you.
And she'll actually give you like a look in the eyes as, again, there's like a strong, immediate kinship as the two of you are feeling very alien in the world, but can feel that link between the two of you. And she says, "Rayron did for me."
Rayron would step forward and plant a kiss on her cheek, and then
She'd actually, when you do that, she actually will take you and pull you in for an embrace. I mean, it's been a while since, you know, you guys have had like a moment. And it's one of those things where she's kind of like with the sun rising in the background as you guys are standing on the crest of this mountain's edge. You haven't just given her the kiss on the cheek. And as you went to go pull back, she pulls you in for like a long hug. You can imagine there's almost like a gust of wind blows by and sends the the cloak's kind of like furling and whatnot. It's actually is genuinely like just a beautiful scene in early morning as these two old friends and perhaps more are sharing this moment and this connection. Her feeling, well, first of all, dead, then very displaced in this world, at one point gravely, but now just strangely having a stronger connection than she's had with anything. She's never blamed you since she's brought her senses back to her. She's never blamed you or hated you for anything. And you could actually kind of feel like the way she's holding you. And it takes, it's one of those things, one of those hugs where it takes like a few, maybe 10, 12 seconds before finally you sink into it. Kind of like when you're stretching, sometimes when you stretch something, it takes like 8, 15 seconds before your muscles finally relax and allow you to really lean into the stretch. That's why you're supposed to do like minute-long stretches, right? You finally like kind of like sink back into the hug that she's giving you. You realize that she's always hated the fact, but couldn't express it, that you blame yourself for what happened. She holds no negative emotion attention to that.
I think Rayon would stay in that embrace, and he'd begin to sob, probably. I think with this feeling of forgiveness. It's like all this weight, all this guilt's been on his shoulders for this, for the souls, for everything for so long, and he's not been like this with anyone. Like, he's friends with one, but like duty stays between, like there's always that barrier, you know, they have to do what they have to do for the kingdom. And he's
So sorry about that, Brittany. I've been smelling something weird in the basement. Some weird, almost like sweet smells. Like, that's the weirdest smelling kitty litter, because a cat went to the bathroom, and I was like, it's the weird. Apparently, my backyard just got like fogged for like they use like all natural ingredients for like treating for specifically mosquitoes, because it doesn't hurt like bees and whatnot. And I've never been home, because this is the second time ever I've had it done. And I was like, what is that? She's like, it smells like root beer. I was like, it does smell like root beer. That's what that smell is. It's so weird. But because it's a basement, concrete's porous, the smell came in, of course. Anyways, moving on. I'm so sorry. You were saying the moment. Yep.
So basically,
So you would sob.
It's
Yep.
this moment of catharsis that he hasn't had for a long time,
Yep.
and a moment of forgiveness that he hasn't had.
She's actually going to, after you guys kind of like share that moment and eventually sit down and enjoy the sun arise. You imagine the two of you sit side by side, not necessarily holding hands or anything like that, but it's one of those like very close side by side watching the rest of it. When you guys finally do get up and head back, one of the things she would say is, Rayron, I've had time to think about things, and I know that I'm not alone. I know that I'm not lost. I knew that things were wrong, and I knew that, not wrong, off, and I knew that they came from you. But now that I can feel it inside of you, I know that it's meant to be. I know that this is how and where I'm supposed to be. I'm done sobbing. I'm done soul searching. I'm done staring listlessly off at the sunrises. I am supposed to be here. And I'm not done. There's work to be done. I want to provide some degree of aid. I want to do something for your nation. I'm not sure where my position lies. I don't know if my skill with a sword would be of benefits. I wish I could act as some sort of diplomat to send home, but you and I both know well enough that I'm terrible with words. I'm better off punching somebody until they listen to me than I am trying to talk them into agreeing. But if there's some way that I can lend aid, I want to. I want to do that.
Thank you. I am truly grateful. And your words have always found a way into my heart.
She'll give you a look. You know that it's meant to be a smile, but you now, in your current state, as temporary as it may be, are able to understand the more subtle emotions she has. She doesn't lack emotion at all, by any stretch of the imagination. While you always saw her as depressed and whatnot beforehand, is because, much like the sill, it's a lot more muted than it was before. But those little nuanced differences, those subtle changes, those expressionless looks and expressions that she would give to you, now are just as open to you as they would be if she was giving you a broad smile. She gives you a smile. You know of the genuine nature and genuine caring that she has in her.
I think Rowan would smile then and take
Well,
her hand once
again,
again.
that same muted version, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
return the
Yeah,
emotion.
return it, exactly.
Mhm.
And then
Probably start heading back towards the keep.
Yep, of course, and the two of you would do so. And of course, that's between you guys to decide. But more or less, Jaden has become an available NPC for you guys to use. If she actually has a full-fledged character sheet too, so for you guys to work on if you would like. More than that, actually, as we're kind of like closing out this season, Neil's birthday had passed, and while we weren't able to see yet what the actual artifacty thing that's going to be happening quite just yet, because we still have one more bit of RP to do before we show up. I have to start ending these sessions I think closer to 11 now, because I have such a long drive to get to work and have to get ready. But one of the things I do want to point out is I'm actually going to give Neil and Jake, not Tesh, unfortunately, not that it's Tesh, it's just doesn't make sense for Ilan. The feats recruits, recruits, which is a, what's that, Pathfinder? So, the thing is, recruits comes with a special, feature, where it counts as leadership for the purpose of blah, blah, blah. And at later dates, you can actually exchange it into leadership. However, is it recruits or my apologies, or is it Squire? Let me just make sure I have the right one. Squire Pathfinder. Because one of them immediately turns into a feat when you reach level 7, but this isn't going to do that for you quite just yet. So Squire is you can only attract one first level cohort, and when you have them, their level is always 3 levels lower than yourself. So 3 more. So since you guys are level 8, it would be a 5th level person would actually be able to join you. Usually when you reach level 7, it automatically becomes the leadership feat, but I'm actually not doing that for you guys because you're getting it so late in the game. I'm actually going to allow that to immediately convert into the leadership feat for you at level 10. So you have to wait 2 more levels before, just like before you could have grabbed that at 3 and it becomes that at 7 for you. Instead, you're going to grab it at 8 and it'll become that at 10. Okay. So you guys, when you actually look up the Squire feats, which you're getting for free, more or less you gain 1 cohort. You still have to determine your leadership score in accordance to all the rules. The highest level that it could be is 5 though. So I don't know where your actual score sits, if that even allows you to get as high as a 5. So let's just use Rayron as an example. Rayron, you're level 8. What's your charisma at level 8 alone already brings it to, you can have a 5th level cohort.
my charisma score is a fine 10.
So that's a 0, which is fine. But because you're already there.
Which is
but
fine.
you have a stronghold or base of operations. Well, that affects
We got lots of bonuses from that.
Yeah,
kingdom
I've got
stuff.
infamy as well.
you do have infamy.
And fame.
And whatnot. So again, it's one of those things where you actually get bonuses and whatnot. So we don't have to worry about factoring because you're only getting the one person. So that actually goes to Jake. Jake, that one person that you would get, I would actually suggest for you it being 3, because that would keep 3 around and gaining levels with you without you having to do anything. It doesn't have to be, but that does keep her around and gaining levels with you as you gain levels, which is nice. So, and for you, Neil, I would actually suggest Jaden. And the reason why I suggest Jaden is because she's going to be with her current state, a very quick learner. And she would actually gain the ability to very quickly be a study underneath, what's his name? General Jaeger, in learning combat and whatnot. Because just the way she currently stands, or the way she was currently recreated, was a level 1 fighter. But that was because I was waiting to see what actions you would take with her. And if you would want her to be your, quote, squire. She doesn't have to be. You could have a different cohort instead. Si, senor.
Before we officially end the session or season or whatever.
Well, you'd have the between seasons bit next week anyways, where we go over like a lot of meta stuff. But go ahead.
Do we have 5 minutes for me to do one thing?
Yeah. Unless Neil was anything else that he needed to do with Jaden.
No. I
And
kind of
please.
like leaving some of it unsaid.
Perfect. Jake. See, I do it to all of you.
Okay.
Wait, no. Do we see Ezek?
He's
We walk in
around.
the keep. We're like,
Yes.
hey, Mr. Joe. No.
I hope that's a thing.
He'd
I hope
be
it
like,
stays a thing.
Jaden, did I introduce you to my chode?
God.
Well, you are half dead right now.
What's he call his company?
Company? Oh, his establishment? You know, worry about that later on. Yes. Hard up steel. No.
All right. So after everything's been kind of confirmed, before anything's been announced, Grishka is going to. You've completely thrown me off track.
I muted him, don't worry.
I will go down to the temple.
I won't lie. When things like this happen, I really wish Chloe was just sitting in the chair behind you with her own set of headphones so she could listen. Just so I could just see her sit there and just stare like one of these. Just one of those like. Right out, just like. It's a disappointing look. So you go to see who?
I'm actually going to the temple. And if it's not empty, I'll order it to be empty.
Get out! Like, it's that time of month for him. He's got to work out some frustrations. And he stands there staring at the statue of Roga, which looks vaguely like him, and he's like,
You know, it kind of does. Which is may or may not be intentional.
But go ahead.
Closes the door. Anyway, he
Bring in the lard.
The statue.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a knee, puts a hand on it, and speaks in Orcish. And he starts to pray. And so he just does whatever the general prayer is that they usually do. But then he says, Rogar, the battle fury, the breaker of chains. You have chosen me to free this land. You have directly broken the chains of the two that now call themselves gods, that are gods. Gods of not just this land, but gods of the world. I know that your plan for me is not finished. I know that there is more that we must do. So far it eludes me, but I have no doubt that I will find what you have planned. I am about to do quite an undertaking to bring the faith to Hodgwen, a place that might be rooted against us. I'm not sure, and he pulls out the chest, and still whilst holding one hand on the statue, he imagines the chest, and the chest probably appears. We received this from
Nankaro.
Received this, yeah, but he doesn't say it. He says Nan, and then he goes,
My apologies.
from Momek. Now, when we open it, I see both dark and light. But I don't know if this has anything to do with yourself. But I'm going to need help in this task. And Rayron is the chosen of the Arbiter, and Ilan now is the chosen of the Martyr. I am, and always will be, the chosen of Virgo, the Battle Fury, and I'm here to do your will. I'm sure that the others will help. You have made an alliance. You've freed them. So, I ask for help in what I must do. I ask for anything that can assist me in bringing Hot Gwen to you and to Valorant. And then he'll, whilst holding the statue, he just opens the chest and he'll reach inside. And you can cut it there if you want.
The chest itself is a direct link, as we know, to a well, almost like an area or whatever, of the positive and negative energy planes. And it's kind of like the deep magics and whatnot that exist within them. This is no secret at this point. We understand that. We also, in this campaign, came to understand that there's out of game, not in game, because it wasn't told to you guys, but there's a difference between inner and outer planes gods. Inner planes gods have more of a direct link to you guys, and outer planes gods have more of an ethereal link to you guys. They don't generally directly help you. It's not how they really function. We've seen it happen in another campaign time and time again. There's reason for that, but they don't generally do that sort of a thing beyond, of course, I cast spells, but whatever that means, we don't know. When you open up the chest, as always, you see that there is 3/4 dark and 1/4 light energy flowing inside of it. But when you reach your hand inside the chest, you can actually see that what literally happens because of just the way things work, you reach into the dark side of the chest. But when you do so, it doesn't seem like when anybody's done so before, anybody's looked inside of this before, you don't feel like you're reaching into the area that it's meant to. You feel like you're kind of reaching in and grabbing from something else that's inside there. What you actually end up grabbing feels very familiar to you, and it makes sense as you pull it out. There's a chain that you pull out, literally a spiked chain weapon that is in your hands. Now, spiked chains are a very interesting weapon because of the representation of what they have. It's literally chains. But these spiked chains are a little unique. They're a little different. You can feel the magic flowing through them that exists inside them. You know that these chains can actually be used, albeit with limitation. You can only do it so many times, and then they lose their value, to be broken. You can actually take the chains and physically break them into 2 separate chains, 2 separate weapons. And in doing so, break the chains that might exist on one's mind around you. Might actually literally shatter a hold that it might happen on somebody that's around you, whether it be a enchantment or whatever it might be. We've talked beforehand about the spell Break Enchantment. But guess what? That's what it has the ability to do. It can only do it so many times before the innate magics of this weapon are unfortunately expired. But otherwise, it is a magical spike chain weapon that you're able to hold, and after you use that magic, kind of like relink together, removing one of the chains that you've already broken, and so on. We can get into the nitty-gritty of how that works afterwards. That doesn't matter. And that's what you end up pulling from the thing and understanding the magics. This is a weapon that you can use, a weapon that you can break to free the minds of those around you when you use it.
With that, he doesn't say another word. The chest closes. And a smile comes on his face. And he stays at the temple for the night.
Okay. And I think that's pretty much it. The last thing I do want to go over before we say our goodbyes is that obviously we know that the general was successful down in Vigil, very successful down in Vigil, as we discussed with his tactics and so on and so forth. But he sends word back for the Chosen to come for a very important meeting. It seems as though he wants you to come have a meeting with the leaders of Vigil and Octavia. We'll save that for next week, beyond the meta conversations. Beyond the meta conversations that we're gonna have as well, because next week will be, of course, our between seasons thing as we set things up for the next season.
What happens at the end of the season?
You're not leveling up. You're too high level.
We level.
No.
Woo!
You're too high level to get just a level now. Sorry, but it's fun because next session we want to have the conversation with Octavia. Go over a couple of details in game, not a ton, but then we're also going to have not only are we going to have one kingdom roll to like push it forward one last time, but it's going to be the first time we actually roll for the kingdom rolls of Hard Gwen.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
With all those negatives.
Look who's in chat. Wow.
Shut up, Bessie.
I imagined.
Hey, but you know what they also don't do? Run away from a fight.
Wow. I imagined Ezek looking like Messi. But thick.
Moving on. So I gotta take a piss. Also, Jake, I think you're actually gonna use the recruits feat instead of the squire feat, because I think that one makes more sense for you.
Yeah, so we're getting the squire feat.
I think squire for you and recruits for him, because I think that makes sense because if he doesn't use what's her name?
That's fine. I zoned out in that bit you were talking about.
No, you're fine, because I think she has you for Jaden and then him for the various orcs that he picked up from Orsugo actually recruits. I think it makes more sense. I gotta take a pee, so I'm gonna let you guys chat real quick and start your outro, and then I'll come back and do mine. So I just gotta pee. I'll be right back.
That went well.
Yeah, that did.
Especially
we set a lot of stuff up this session.
Yeah, I feel like it was good.
Yeah.
We did a little bit more personal RP, so we tried to avoid Tesh missing out on too much.
Yeah, I feel like we had stuff that needed to be done, like setting up what will be like a big thing at the start of next season is going to be this council we're having with all the leaders of all the things. That's going to be a big thing, as well as we're starting by sending me to take Hod Gwen. So that's starting. Not only that, we got to decide, because we got that kingdom roll coming up, we got to claim some land. And as much as I want to take the keeps, the more that I think it's probably right what you were going with.
Yeah, I just don't think it gives us that much benefit,
I mean, the only thing that I can think of is it gives movement.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it could also potentially give that to enemies. And also, we're running light on who would we move to places to deal with stuff. We've got armies, but they can't. It takes time for them to go through. That reminds me, I need to send the riders of Rayron.
Oh, to get those horses?
Yeah. So much to do, huh, Lati? So much to do. Don't you wish we had it easy like those regicide guys?
Yeah, they do have it the easiest. No, throwing people direction, sorry.
Woo! Jake, close out. What the hell, dude?
But so we don't have to waste any time when Scott comes back.
Oh yeah, we should say our bits.
Yeah, you go first.
Hey, I'm Neil, or at Naghite, or at Naghite_ on Discord and Twitter, respectively. You can find me here on Wednesdays for this shit show. Tune in next week for when we name Easy Chode's hard supplies. And
join me later in 3 hours for D&D 5e Cornucopia Horn of Plenty finale, I think, on twitch.tv/Ollyran.
You can find me here and in the Discord, Jake, Jaek. At me at the Discord if anyone wants to talk anything Aurorum. I'm always down for that stuff. Other than that, I'll throw it to Scott.
Just reading an article somebody sent me about young children's responses to COVID and how extremely dangerous it is, and these multi-symptom inflammatory things happening. So, you know, I'm glad that Betsy DeVos's plan is open to schools, because you know that makes perfect sense. Open the schools or we'll take away your funding, which we can't legally do, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Excuse me, Miss DeVos, what's the plans we have for protecting children in schools? Open them! America. Feels great, doesn't it? America was made so great. Loving it. It's the best. The best. It's the best. It's so good. I will say before I go, I do have to go, one of the best things that I got to experience recently was one of the people that I work with right now enjoys politics, which is nothing wrong with that. So they wanted to listen to a Trump town hall that was happening, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to want to listen to the people that you support. I have no problems with that. The issue was the town hall was a circle jerk of aren't cops awesome? And think of all these awesome people that cops like went and saved and did these great things for. And aren't they so, and look at this. And these people are black people that they're helping. And it was like all these testimonies of people being like, these cops are awesome. And it's like, you're missing the point of the conversation that's happening in the nation. It's not that people that say ACAB, all cops are bad. I disagree with that. I think it's stupid. But we're not saying get rid of cops and all cops are bad. Though some people are saying that ignore them, saying that there are bad people and there's no accountability put in place to hold bad people accountable for being bad, and no incentives in place. Actually, unfortunately, disincentives in place for people that want to point out the bad for being bad, which is just awful. And so just like listening to this town hall of circle jerk pro police crap from the federal administration and these people with their anecdotal stories, despite the fact that there is a hard metadata that proves otherwise, is so upsetting. And then seeing an interview where it's like, well, you know, why are cops still killing black people? Well, more white people die. That doesn't count to the point that lots of people are dying at the hands of police officers. And obviously the hard number is more for white, but the percentage is, Anyways, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's important to note that the Black Lives Matter movement that has been going on has not ended. The protests have not ended. The needle has not moved enough. Yes, there has been movement in some places, but not enough legislature, not enough movement. Please, 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 if you're American, register to vote. Please, please, please. There's only two things you have to do as an American citizen to be considered a good American citizen. Pay your taxes and vote. That's all you got to do. Pay your taxes and vote. And you can vote for things that are against what I believe in. That's fine. But just pay your taxes and vote. And if you live in another country that has some degree of democracy where you are able to vote, do that in your country too. Pay your taxes and vote. That's it. That's all you got to do. Beyond that, you know, you could just shove Neil's head in your asshole and he'll like it.
Okay, Boomer.
No, it's actually a young thing. It's a young person's thing to like want to fight against power. That's how it works. We're always,
Okay, Boomer.
but you've got. And we go bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
See you next week. What a shit show.
All right.
See, that was a Boomer speech.
It wasn't. What? No. Bye.